Hello, everybody. Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I just want to say I'm Jose, and with me is Colin.
Hello.
Just kidding. Those aren't our names. But hey, how's it going, Jose? You doing all right this morning? Afternoon. Sorry.
This afternoon, yeah. I've been very busy doing the final bits of shopping for Christmas. All done. Just want to relax now. Just put my feet up, and I'm going to look forward. Sorry, I missed yesterday's show, but I did watch it back.
How did I do? All right.
I messaged you to tell you how you did. You did let it go a bit wayward at times, but yeah, you done all right. You was on your own.
It was tough. It was to cut the cord. You know, it was tough. But we've got some wonderful guests today, and I am joined by my co-host. Hopefully, we keep things a little more on tracks today. We've got 2 returning guests and 1 brand new guest.
Well, no, we've got one member of the Talk and Ball team,
and then 1 returning guest, 1 brand new guest,
and 1 debutant.
So, guys, let's first of all get a round of applause for the man in the robe himself, Adrian Stroka.
Hi, Ash. Hi, Chris Peters in the channel. Yeah, good to see you guys as always.
Already got people in the chat. Yeah, and it's good to see you, Adrian. We always appreciate having you here with us. Officially a member of the Talk and Ball family. Glad to have you, my man. Our resident historian. Yeah, very good to have you. And next we've got Ian.
Hi, guys.
What is up, man?
Jose and Colin and Adrian.
Yeah. So Jose, I found out that Adrian and Ian had never really been on the same show before today. So this will be a first for them. I think they'll get on perfectly.
It's been great. I've been following Ian's 3-week adventure in the Far East. So Ian is a very relaxed man, I believe now. So welcome back, Ian.
Yeah, absolutely. And having been in Southeast Asia, great to be on with your next guest, who's from that part of the world. A really international show today.
Perfect.
Wonderful
segue,
time. Wonderful people. Absolutely wonderful people.
I'm really glad that you had fun. Was it relaxing? You relaxed?
No.
Hi, Nathan. Mark Cousins.
No. Relaxing it wasn't, but it was a wonderful adventure.
Good. I'm glad it was fun.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And that was a perfect segue to our next guest. As Jose said, debutante, making his very first appearance talking ball. We've got Chang. What's up, Chang?
Hello, everybody. Thank you
very,
very, very much for even permitting this glorious opportunity to make my debut here on Talk and Ball. I am so psyched to be able to meet everyone here in person for the first time ever, from Colin, Jose, Adrian, Ian, and everyone here who's watching the show right now or even on playback. Big up to you for even tuning in. Please hit a like, hit a subscribe to Talk and Ball, and we look forward to giving you lots more content in the future.
Dude, Chang, you're the man. You are good vibes all around. I really appreciate that.
Chang says he's a debutant, but he sounds like a professional.
Yeah, he does. Better than us. So
you see what I mean about wonderful people.
I try my best.
Yes. The nicest people in the world are in Southeast Asia. I've come to that conclusion.
Fantastic.
Well, Chang, you're the man. Thanks for being here. We really do appreciate it. And we've got plenty of awesome questions. Sorry, I didn't mean. I was going to say we got questions, but then we've got something special at the beginning here. We're going to start it out a little differently.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is, has been the theme for the whole week with all our guests. We've got the 10 questions of all our guests. I will say to you now, I'm going to watch these back, all 5 episodes from Monday to Friday, including today's, and I'm going to be noting down what people's answers have been, because it'll be a good one to see. 1, probably by the end of the transfer window, and 2, by the end of the season, to see what we all thought and what we all talked about at Christmas time. So we will go into the questions. However, I'm part of a group. And I've seen a lot of comments that have been put in a lot of groups that I'm in with regards to the creation of the Super League or the ruling that came out yesterday. And I know that Ian had a lot to say in the messages that I've seen So I thought we'd start the chat today and talk about this before we went on to any questions.
Okay.
So Ian, the floor is yours to start with.
Yeah, okay, because I've read a fair bit of anti-Super League stuff. Let me say first off, the Super League will happen. Might take 3 years, might take 5, might take 10. I think 3 is more realistic, but the Super League will come. Where obviously it went wrong last time was you had, and I'll take some cue from Eugene on his show earlier that made this very point, was you had American money and American financiers putting up a model where it was based pretty well on the American system, where teams don't get there's no meritocracy, teams don't get relegated, teams don't get promoted. It's effectively a franchise system, and what they were trying to create was a scenario where there would be almost like the permanent members of the Security Council. There would be permanent members of the Super League, and no club would be able to enter it, and no club would be able to leave it. And I think the great irony was, of course, even the clubs who were going to be part of it, like Tottenham, even their supporters rejected it because it was an anathema to everything we believe in football. But the reason I say it's coming is that football evolves. It progresses sometimes. It always evolves. And all of us, you'd have read about times when footballers earned 10 quid a week, £6 in the summer. In the summer, they painted the stands. They travelled on the same buses as the supporters and what have you. Things change, and football changed forever with the advent of the English Premier League in 1992. So we're talking about a period of 31 years now, and that was effectively an elite. That was the big clubs saying, we are no longer prepared to give the kind of sums that we have to give to the lower levels of the game because they're not contributing as much. Prior to that, football clubs had to give, I don't know, something like 15% of their income that streamed down through the lower leagues, and the clubs rebelled against that. Then you had Sky Television. And then you had in those days there were 3 European competitions. There was the European Cup, which was for the league winners from every country. So you might get drawn. If I remember in the '79, I think it was, Liverpool got drawn to play Nottingham Forest. So there was 2 English clubs. There was 2 English clubs because Forest had won it the year before. Liverpool were the league champions. They could have got the champions of Iceland or Turkey or Malta or whatever. And you had the UEFA Cup later to become the Europa League, and the Cup Winners' Cup that was defunct. The team that finished second, third got into the UEFA Cup. The Cup Winners went into the Cup Winners' Cup. That all changed, and we had the Champions League, where all of a sudden 4, sometimes even 5 teams got into the Premier European competition, and the UEFA League, the old UEFA Cup, became pretty well obsolete. People didn't want to be it. And as for the Conference League, no one wants to play in that at all. In fact, teams want to finish 7th. So moving on from that, you look at the last 16, the draw for the last 16 of the Champions League, and there's not a game you would cross the street to watch. So eventually something's got to give. All businesses, all industries have to evolve or die. So the Champions League, the Super League will come. What I think people will rebel against, though, and rightly, is that there's a breakaway movement and players become part of a different league, a different organisation, don't play for their countries and what have you. I don't want to take too much time here. I've taken enough already. But what I think how this will evolve is that UEFA will come up with a plan whereby there is a genuine meritocracy. They've talked about 64 teams. I thought maybe 80 something, 7 divisions, 8 divisions, or whatever. of teams that could enter as long as they meet certain criteria, turnover, quality of stadium, what have you, and there will be a proper competition with promotion, relegation, which will involve a lot more clubs, and that will be how the game will evolve. I don't think the Champions League can survive in its present form, and to have two, when we were in the Cup Winners' Cup, Adrian, and what have you, or winning the UEFA Cup in 72 and 84, they were massive nights. Now European football, other than Champions League, doesn't feel worthwhile at all, and it's really important, I think, that European competition gets back to what it was. It will have to change, and I suspect the Super League, under the auspices of UEFA, is the direction of travel.
I see a different way of this going. I don't see a Super League with those three proponents for it being Juventus, Real Madrid and Barcelona, basically because all three clubs have been profligate over the years, overspent money, spending £100 million on a player, giving them 500 grand a week, just not sustainable. And they just want to carry on the way they are, because if every team we go in this Super League, they're all going to get 300 million plus to start with. What I see is what UEFA have done now. Oh, and besides that, Man United, Liverpool, Spurs and Arsenal have come out and said, no, they're not going in it. And James Cleverly from the government has said, we will pass a law to prevent it. So what will happen is, I think what will happen, your idea is right, but I think it'll be in a different form because the format for the Champions League has been changed. They're going to have, instead of like you playing 6 games in groups of 4, these groups are going to be expanded. So the more games you get, obviously the more TV money, the more gate receipts you get, etc., etc. So it's a gradual step forward, right? Where we go from there, I don't know. They might end up with like 2 leagues. I don't see a separate league. See, with the Premier League, it's the most watched league in the world. And even if you had a European league amongst all the teams, right, fans around the world are always going to watch the Premier League because it's just more exciting. So you're not going to take anything away from the Premier League doing it. Even like the Saudi League starting that now, they said that would be a threat. It will be a threat to Europe, but it won't be a threat to the Premier League. It'll be a threat to European teams. I can see a way that UEFA are going to drip feed a lot more money down into the clubs in their competitions, but I don't see there won't be a breakaway. I don't see there being a breakaway. I can see 4 leagues of 8 in the what we call the Champions League. I think they're going to increase those. I think the format for is it next season 6 teams in each group, which means you'll play 10 games instead of 6 or something like that. So that's 4 extra games, which is a lot more money, a lot more TV money, a lot more advertising money, and I see that happening. I definitely see that happening. And then they'll see how that goes. Because you can start playing too many games in the league and fans can get bored with it. If you have too many. So that's just the way I see it. But I think it will come. But I just don't see it coming in a breakaway league across Europe.
So do you guys think that this?
Chan, do you have let Chan go? They're our guests first, aren't they? And then we can ask the questions. Chan, do you have a view on this?
Okay, my views on the European Super League is very simple in effect, in a way that unless this European Super League gets approval from FIFA and UEFA, which is never going to happen, I really can't see this taking off anytime soon for the simple fact that most footballers in the modern game, they still have to look up to FIFA and UEFA for that global international exposure. If you look at the recent World Cup that concluded a year ago and the coming Euros next year in 2024, the moment anyone dares to even think of leaving FIFA and UEFA to participate in this European Super League, you immediately lose all credibility with UEFA and UEFA on the global international stage. And I cannot see any modern day footballer want to take this risk just for the sake of a few more dollar signs to your paycheck. if that makes any sense. A few more zeros to the end of your paycheck at the end of the day. So unless they are really some very desperate and down and out footballers that are hard on their luck, I seriously can't see this taking shape anytime soon, unless something very radical and drastic does come up within UEFA and FIFA as a whole, for clubs to even consider wanting to throw their names into the hat for the European Super League. That's all my take on it.
And that's a great take. It's kind of gone in a different direction than both Ian and Adrian. So interesting, Chang. I like that. Do you guys agree at all? So I'll be honest and tell you that I'm fairly ignorant to this whole European Super League. I'm ignorant to the changes that have been made between the announcement of it last time and then the iteration we're seeing now. So yeah, Ian, with regards to what Chang said, do you see that being a stepping stone?
Yeah, I don't really. I think the big change that came about was the judgment of the European Court of Justice yesterday, which ruled that UEFA were not permitted under European competition laws to stop clubs forming their own competition. Now, and I heard, Adrian rightly mentioned about the comments that the government made. I mean, this government's probably got under a year to run, so they won't be passing any legislation on this before the Parliament ends. And interestingly, Starmer, who's likely to be the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom after the next election, is an Arsenal supporter, so he has a vested interest in promoting the will of his club. But the other thing is that, although we're not bound because we left, people will know we left the European Union. There are still antitrust laws, as you would call them in America, Colin, and that stifle competition. So it's by no means certain that even if there was a law passed, that the government wouldn't, that the courts wouldn't turn around and say that it's not right that the football authorities have a monopoly power on where businesses can and can't ply their trade. The second thing is, and we're suddenly everybody's the great friend of FIFA and UEFA. FIFA and UEFA are simply out for themselves. If you look at the number of, we'll bemoan an international break. We're doing a stream, there's an international break. People only have most of us only have a peripheral interest in international football compared to our clubs. And players are being asked to play more and more games. FIFA are talking about a World Cup every 2 years. I think that's gone down. But increasingly, FIFA and UEFA, with their international competitions, are requiring players to play more and more games at the expense of playing for their clubs. And I think this is an opportunity for the clubs to take back some degree of control. The players are ultimately employed by the clubs. The majority of fans are more loyal to their clubs than their national teams when it comes to football. So I think this argument has got a long way to go. But if it does enable the clubs to take an element of control away from the governing bodies, then I think all well and good. Albeit, and I think there's good points been made by others as well as Adrian as well, in terms of the fact that there will be an element from supporters of not wanting to see an elite develop, and clubs like Real and Barcelona, who have invested so much in this, will still want it to go ahead and will want it to go ahead on their terms. And of course, from their point of view, La Liga is a relatively uncompetitive league compared to the Premier League, and of course that will just enhance their powers, as opposed to the Atletis, the Valencias, and the Sevillas, the Villarreals, who've been the clubs that have been able to challenge them in recent years. there's so much we could talk about, and I know there's other things to discuss. I mean, will clubs play different teams in domestic competitions? I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't like to see that, but I can see that happening. But you guys that make the point about the Premier League being the most watched and the most it is by some distance. Anyone who's watched German football or Spanish football or anything, the Premier League is light years ahead of any other league. Yeah, there's bad games. And even the best teams like, Liverpool and Man United last week can produce an absolute bore fest. But in the main, it is the best league in the world, and it's the best league in the world by a distance. But my starting point was football evolves. Nothing stays the same in life, in football, in business. And there will have to be a different model. We'll talk till the cows come home about what that model is. It'll be somewhere between what I say, Adrian, and Chang say. Yeah. Somewhere there.
Right. Also, the balancing act.
I think we have to realise the very strong position the Premier League are in.
Yeah.
And they've been easy because if they'd have been totally ruthless, they'd have gone to Sky and said, "We don't want your TV deal. We're going to set up our own TV. We're going to run the show." Yep. That would bring billions into the Premier League. Yep. Now then, we've got two domestic competitions which have lost a bit of value, like Ian roughly said, the League Cup and the FA Cup.
Well, that's another thing, yeah.
If you brought billions more into the league, even if we fell out with Europe, right? It won't happen. But if we did, right, then you could turn around, you could increase the prize money in those competitions so much. You bet your life clubs will pay more attention to it, right?
Yeah.
And making more worthy competitions to win, right? And you have to look, and you're looking at the global brand of football, which is still growing exponentially throughout the world. And with it, for each club comes more merchandising, more TV revenue, more advertising revenue. It's growing. It's no, people say to me, "Oh, the Spurs stadium's been fully monetized." I said, nowhere near fully monetized.
No.
Nowhere near. We haven't even got a naming right still, and there is so. And when you bring on someone with a naming rights deal, what happens then? If it's say Google come on the naming rights deal, how many partners have Google got? How many of them partners? Google are involved with Spurs. We want to be involved with Spurs, and the knock-on effect carries on and on and on. And like Spurs are in a fantastic position. We're a sustainable club. We got a load of debt. Daniel Levy was seduced by that 350 million or 40 million every club was going to get the Super League because he thought, all my Christmases have come at once. I can clear a lot of the Spurs debt with that, which is a burden, but it's a manageable burden. So, I mean, the Premier League is strong, and we never had this complaint from European clubs. Back in the 70s, when AC Milan and the Spanish clubs were winning everything, they were paying top dollar for all their players and all that. Since the Premier League took over and become the best money spinner, they don't like it. They don't like it. I think, look, football's okay at the moment. We will see gradual changes to the format of the Champions League over the years. I don't see a breakaway Super League. I could see different leagues for, say, joint league for lesser clubs in Europe, for less richer ones perhaps. But I don't see a breakaway league. And then you've got, like you mentioned, Ian, you'll have all the issues with international players, whether you'll be allowed to play for your country or not, whether FIFA allow you and all that. This will drag on. We've seen it with the golf situation. We saw it with Kerry Packer and the Aussies. All it did at the end.
It does seem very similar to the golf situation. Good point.
Yeah, and all that happened at the end was the sportsmen involved in those places ended up with more money. That's what happened in the end, because that's what it's all about at the end, like money for FIFA. And look, they're a corrupt organisation. What happened to all the scandal? What happened to Platini with all the scandal with UEFA? We know they're corrupt organisations, right? What happened to the outcome? Who went to prison for all of that? You know what I mean? So
this has been, Mr. Adrian, this has been going on way before Platini, even during the Sepp Blatter days, if you recall, the corruption going on within FIFA and UEFA.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it all seems to kind of get swept under the rug. It's a big deal for a while, and then it all boils back down. Comes back down to a simmer from their boil, and we all watch our football, and everybody's happy, and we forget about all of this, which is kind of their plan. I feel like that's working exactly how they want it to.
I remember being a youngster, and two people that share the stage with me at the moment all know exactly what I'm talking about. But I can't remember who it was, which one of you said, I think it was Ian, talked about the Cup Winners' Cup and the UEFA Cup. Now, I recall being a youngster, and if you were in them competitions, you look forward to them nights.
Absolutely.
And you look forward to going far, and you look forward to trying to win a European competition. And I think that things have been drummed in, and things have changed so much that it's been drummed into us that now the Europa League and the Conference League are not worthy cups anymore. And the only one that you should be concentrating on is the Champions League, where in old money, people would concentrate on the European Cup and the UEFA Cup and the Cup Winners' Cup if they were in them competitions. Times have changed.
Yes, yes, Jose. Could just one little point on the FA Cup. I mean, when I was a kid, we would queue up on a Sunday morning outside the Spurs ground at 10 o'clock, and they opened the gate at 1 to sell you tickets, right? And the queues would be all over the place, like just that's how much it was. And you were excited. You were excited about the early rounds. You followed the non-league team before it come round to the third round. We're going to be in on the 5th of January on the Friday night, you know, where Burnley fans have been treated shabbily because they've got to travel down for an 8 o'clock kickoff from Lancashire, you know, and then go back and get home in the earlier. I mean, it's disgusting the way fans are treated. But you know, I'm just saying the FA Cup has lost a lot of its shine and glory. And the only way you reintroduce it is to make it worthwhile money wise, right? Then you'd bring it back, you know.
Oh, I mean, the idea, the whole concept. I mean, Adrian and I are, I think, a fair bit older than the rest of you. You as well?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Go back. I said.
I thought you were a bit. Well, I mean, I was 64 on last Sunday, so
I'm 69 in January.
Yeah, I ain't too far behind you, gentlemen.
I'm 32 as of 2 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, what was the idea? The whole notion, and particularly for any of the youngsters who are in the chat, the whole notion that finishing in the top 4 would be more important than winning a cup, the League Cup or the FA Cup, is comical. You know, if you won a cup, even the League Cup, that would have made it a massive season. Massive season.
Ian,
now everything revolves around the top 4. Crazy.
Ian and Jose will remember when Spurs won cups in the 80s. Right?
I was there.
How important we put the onus on the cups, because in those days we were fined for playing weakened teams in the league because we had an important cup game coming up.
Yep.
Now clubs have got big squads, they get around it. We got fined in cup competitions for doing that throughout the years. Spurs did, playing weakened teams in the league. Mind you, didn't have all the European places up to grab now. You didn't have, like, you know, back in the days when only the champions went into the European Cup then.
Yeah.
And European places went to like top 3, not like they can go to 8 now, possibly 9 this year if we get that 5th Champions League spot. But that depends on where all the other UK clubs doing all the European competitions, and then it's done on that sort of quotient effect, that usual rubbish that UEFA come out with. Like,
yeah.
Right. So, for the people in the chat, there you have our opinions on the European Super League.
A small bit of our opinions.
Yes, a small bit. We could be a whole show dedicated to it. But alas, we need to move the show along. Right, so as in tradition for the whole of this week, what we'll do is we'll start off with the first question, and what we'll do, we can either start with. Do you know what I'm going to do? We're going to start with Chan.
Yeah, we are. Me and
Chang
are in yellow today too, so
we'll go Chan.
Chang.
So we'll do Chan, then Ian, then Adrian, then Colin, and then myself. Because in the whole week, a lot of these questions, Colin and I haven't answered them, because that means we'd be answering for 5 days the same questions. So we've not answered them yet. So today, Colin and I will give our answers. All right. So
let's sing our teeth into it then.
The first question is to you, Chang. Is what's been our best performance of the season?
Okay. If you talk about this season alone in the league, let's not even talk about the the debacle of that League Cup exit. Okay, in the league alone this season, 2 games comes to mind for me. If you talk about the best performance of the season, the first one would be the most recent big win at home. That would be against Newcastle. That would be the first that I would earmark as our best performance of the season. The other one actually that comes to mind, and this actually might slip a lot of people's minds because it's been a few months back now. I was one of the earlier games this season. That very convincing away win. I believe it was against Bournemouth. Please correct me if I'm wrong here. The 5-1 away win against Bournemouth. That was my performance of the season. Not just in terms of the scoreline or the goal scorers or the the cohesive team, but also because of the way where all of us saw what Ange Ball was really all about in the flesh. After we were able to come back from that early goal deficit away against the Cherries at Bournemouth. So, best performance of the season.
I think you mean Burnley away, don't you?
Burnley away, 5-2.
Burnley away,
sorry.
5-2.
Yes, that is correct. It was Burnley, sorry, not Bournemouth. Thank you for correcting me there, Mr. Adrian. So it was the Burnley 5-2 away. I believe it was the 3rd game of the season, and also the aforementioned Newcastle home game where we won by 4-1. It's a toss-up between these 2 games for my best performance of the season.
What a lovely answer. What a lovely answer.
Right, Ian, same question to you.
Yeah, I only saw the highlights of the Newcastle game on my line in my hotel room in Hong Kong. He says name dropping.
I was going to say exactly.
Going to go though with the Burnley game. I think there was is that me? There's I've got a lot of background noise there. Is it me? No. It is the Burnley game. I thought we were sublime that day. I know they're not a great side, but it was the there's a lot more to come from this team, and I think that the fact that we finished off so much of our good work that day, I think caps it for me. And I'm going to be absolutely off the wall here, and I'm going to say Chelsea at home. I know. Hang on a minute. How can you say we got beat 4-1 in a game? You say that. It was the fact that Postecoglou was so brave, almost recklessly brave, but so brave. The players endorsed it and adopted it. And the third thing is we actually came quite close in that game. 1-8, maybe nicking a draw. But if with a fair wind, we might just have won that game. Dyer's was marginally offside, and there's nothing he could have done to control that.
That was a game of very fine margins, Mr. Ian.
As it
was definitely.
Yeah, let me be philosophical. Life and sport, they imitate one another because the making and taking of chances are what determines your success. It's a little bit philosophical, but and then Son went through one-on-one on goal and missed one. We came close to performing a minor miracle, and I was just so proud at the end of that game as to how close and how brave we were. You talk about players just playing for the money and not playing for the shirt. Every one of them was prepared to die for the shirt that night, and I loved it.
Yeah, 100%. I love that match as well. And the fact that Ange was slated so much for attacking with 9 men, but that's exactly what he's about, and that's why I love him. So, I agree. That Chelsea match was a good one.
Adrian.
Well, I was juggling 2, Man City away and Arsenal away, and I settled on the Arsenal game. Came back from behind twice. They didn't even score a goal in open play. They got a penalty and a deflection, and we showed such character. Plus the fact we haven't got a point there in ages, whereas at Man City we have won there in recent years as well, which I thought, considering it's one of the toughest away games you can go to, and then being our rivals, I'll pick the Arsenal away game. I thought we were better than them on the day as well, and we should have won that game.
Yeah, agreed completely. And it's always nice to go to Arsenal and put up a good display. There's been seasons past in recent history where it hasn't quite gone that way, if you know what I mean. So yeah, definitely a good match. My performance of the season thus far would probably again be, it's tough. It's between, for me, the Chelsea match, the infamous Chelsea match now, and then the most recent, the match against Newcastle. I know that Newcastle were playing with the depleted squad. So were we. And one thing I liked best about it is just that I think we saw the most Ange ball that we've seen thus far this season. Jose points out that we don't see an entire match of Ange ball I don't think we yet really have. We'll see it for periods of time, and then we'll kind of revert back to our more safe side-to-side play for a while, and then we'll attack for a bit and see some more Ange ball. I think against Newcastle we saw a lot of Ange ball, a lot of Ange ball, and so that's one thing that that's one reason why I'm choosing that match, but also the Chelsea match, just because of how galvanized the team seemed. The fact that you're right, they bought into the attacking play, even with 9 men, and 100% on another day, we would have at least got a point out of that match. So that leaves
me. So for me, I'm going to give it to 2 games. The first one being Arsenal, and the second one being Chelsea. The Arsenal game, we got told by the whole of the Arsenal fan base that we were never going to turn up and play Ange ball at their ground, and that we would get brushed 5-0. People were saying we're going to sweep you. We're going to demolish you 5-0. That's all I heard. All the Arsenal fans went absolutely garrity and told us that we weren't going to turn up. Boy, we turned up on their patch. We gave them Ange ball. I actually remember doing a stream after the game and reading out an email that had been sent to me by a colleague that I know is an Arsenal season ticket holder, has been for many, many years. And he said he looks forward to playing Tottenham at their ground every year. However, he looked forward to it in the morning going to the game. But after the game, he said, can we please have the old Tottenham back, not this new Tottenham that I witnessed today? He said, we don't want to play you again. So that gives me, to have that coming from Arsenal supporters, sensible Arsenal supporters, because he wasn't one of the people that was saying, we're going to smash you 5-0. So for that reason, yeah, Arsenal won. And then for Chelsea, I thought against Chelsea for the first 20 minutes, had we been able to finish our breakfast, lunch, dinner and pudding, we could have been 4-0 up. We absolutely destroyed them in the first 25 minutes. And then after that, to see what we did when we went down to 10 and then 9 men was just absolutely, it was inspiring. It was inspiring. Despite the defeat, it was inspiring. And it actually, if people weren't believers of Ange ball then I think people were believers of Ange ball after the Chelsea game. Even though we defeated, people were believers then. So they're my 2 performances of the season so far.
Boom. And I like that, again, I'll be saying this throughout the show, but it's a sign of a good thing when many people are asked the same question and then have different answers come up. I think that's great. I think that we've had multiple matches that we could say were our best performance of the season, arguably. I think that's great. And signs of good things to come. It's only going to get better from here, guys. Definitely don't see us backsliding any. So it's exciting to see where this Ange team is going to go. And Jose, correct me if I'm wrong, but that takes us into
the next question.
All right. Would you like to pull it up, or would you like me to pull it up?
The question is again to Chan, and the question is, Chan, after 17 games, who is your player of the season so far?
I'm excited to hear this.
Okay, this is going to come. I hope this doesn't take the mood away from this show, or even from the festivities that we have around the corner. I am a massive fan of goalkeepers. I haven't played in goal for our local Malaysian Spurs fan club in their veterans match. So I think it comes as no big surprise that if you ask me who is our player of the season, hands down it's got to be none other than Guillermo Vicario, Venom himself, for the simple fact how we actually managed to land him ahead of any other of the big clubs in Britain, let alone Europe, is a steal for me. The amount of money that we paid for Vicario and what he's jeopardizing now for Spurs as a sweeper keeper, a real sweeper keeper for that, I think it's a no-brainer that Vicario is player of the season. The very fact that so many of you actually chose the home defeat with 9 men against Chelsea, the only reason why we were able to deploy such a high line against Mauricio Pochettino's Chelsea that day is largely down to Vicario being superb in goal as a sweeper keeper. If you just look back at the highlight reels, the amount of monumental saves, crazy saves that he managed to pull off in that game alone with 9 men, it just speaks volumes to the quality of his caliber as a goalkeeper. And this is the one and only time which I will actually give credit to Daniel Levy for turning down goalkeepers like David Raya, which we were so heavily linked. I was so certain and convinced we will actually get David Raya from Brighton. I'm so glad we literally dodged a bullet, put it this way. And if there's anyone who's our player of the season so far, it's got to be Vicario. That's all I have to say about that.
It's a solid answer and a really good one. You're right. I don't think anybody expected him to be the player that he is. I was one of the people that was mad that we got Raya or that we didn't get Raya, and I thought that we, got the budget option as usual. And I'm sure I'm not the only one too. But yeah, so great answer. We'll keep it in the same. You want to keep it in the same order, Jose? So we'll go next to
Ian's next. Yeah. You're on mute, Ian.
I wonder. I was like, where's he at?
Ian, can you hear us, Ian?
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Maybe jump out and then come right back in.
You do need them, to be fair.
Ian's on mute. Yeah.
We'll give it to Adrian. Although Adrian's been answering every day in the chat, but we'll hear it verbally now. Go on, Adrian.
What do you got, Adrian?
Oh, it's Vicario for me. I mean, Lloris has been a great servant of the club,
Yeah.
but and he had his glory days and he's done fantastic for us. But Vicario looks like he's got even more in his locker than Lloris has got, because his kicking's better than Lloris's, and his distribution. Whereas Lloris would run around the box, be looking this way and that way, slow, very slow, not decisive in his decision making when it comes to distribution of the ball. And Vic distributes the ball well. Apart from that, his agility is fantastic. He's got fantastic agility. That save with his legs the other day, everyone thought that was a goal, right? And he's just commanding. And when he comes for crosses, unlike a lot of continental goalkeepers, he actually comes and catches the ball. Whereas a lot of them tend on the continent, they tend to punch it, where you never know where it's going to go. So no, he's just improved. He showed a bit of nerves away at Brentford, but apart from that, ever since that, kicked on, grown in confidence. Yep, commands, shouts at his back four. He does shout. Even when he's conceded a goal, he gets really angry, and I like that. So I know come the end of the season, obviously, I expect Sonic to get 20 points handball system. He only got 70 when he won the Golden Boot. And expect Madison to so he may not be it, because if it goes down to the popular vote, it usually goes to a more sexy player than a goalkeeper. But no, Vicario for me, easily for me. And we could have thrown in your doggy, we could have thrown in Saab, Basuma. Porro's been outstanding, and I was a critic of his, and justly so though, because when I critiqued him, it's because he made mistakes. So no, Vicario for me.
Ian, if you're with us, over to you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what's happened. I had problems with my laptop earlier, so I've come in on my phone, and I don't know. I can only see myself. I'm like blacked out. Is that what you can see?
No,
can
we
you see
you.
We see you.
Oh well, okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with Vicario. Between when you asked the question, it was between him and Sonny, who I think has adapted to the captaincy and the leadership of the club really well. And he's added goals. He's taken the responsibility for the goals. He's played left. He's played in the middle. I think he's been everything you would want in your club captain at a time, particularly when Kane went and what have you. But Vicario has been a revelation, and just picking up some of the stuff that the two of you said. I missed, unfortunately, most of Adrian's, but I got all of Chang's. And the reality is that I'm hoping upon hope that for once we've got our recruitment and we've our recruitment absolutely right, and people making the decisions, because other people complain going for cheap alternatives and what have you. And Dombele and Lo Celso weren't cheap alternatives. They were 110 million between them, plus agents' fees and wages and what have you. The reality is it's not how much you pay; it's getting good value from the money that you spend. That's the absolute key. And for me, Vicario has been one of the best pound for pound signings certainly this club has made in a number of years, and probably one of the best pound for pound signings any Premier League club made this in the summer. So fantastic signing, fantastic goalkeeper. Chang absolutely right about you can play a high line when you've got a keeper as adept at him at playing, playing the almost the libero role, the sweeper role, as the Italians used to play in the 1980s. Tremendous signing, tremendous goalkeeper, absolutely fabulous.
Boom.
Colin, your turn. I've been waiting all week to hear yours.
It's been a sweep. So mine it's tough. Vicario is up there, and he'd probably be my number 2 choice. My choice is a little bit of a dark horse, I think. I don't think many people would have chosen him, but I think that it's Pape Matar Sarr. I think
that's a good shout.
I think without Sarr, I think he allows our other players, our more creative players, to play more creatively, to have some more luxury, some more time on the ball, less responsibilities. With just the amount of running that he does, we've seen whenever him and Bissouma play together, Bissouma looks 10 times better than when Bissouma plays without Sarr with him. And I think that's just because of the amount of ground Sarr covers. I think that's the work rate that he's got, the work he's putting in allows other players to do their thing. We know that Bissouma likes to be a little creative, likes to play with some flair and do his own thing a bit. And Sarr is what allows him to do that. And yeah, I think that without Sarr, the team looks very sluggish. He's one of those players you don't really notice him, but whenever he's gone, you sure do notice it. So yeah, for me, Sarr is player of the season. But close second is Vicario, and it's almost impossible to choose. But since everybody said Vicario as well, I thought too I would get Sarr's name out there, get him some recognition. Yeah, that's me. So now we get to hear Jose's player of the season, though.
So this week we've heard lots of people have said Vicario. I've heard people say Sonny this week. I've had people say Porro. I would say they're the top 3 that we've heard this week. There have been noticeable mentions for Romero, for Van der Ven, Udogie, Maddison. They're the mentions that I've heard as well from people this week. But the top 3 have been Vicario, Sonny, Porro. The one player who has not been mentioned all week, who I've saved for today, is a man who has played all 17 games. He's been a mainstay in the team. He's been a profiting player for the team. He's taken all the knocks. He's put in the hard yards. And that is Dejan Kulusevski for me. He has played every position that he's been asked. He's been done everything he's been asked to do. When we play against Chelsea, he was the man who had to keep the ball. He had 3 players around him most of the time. Most of the season, playing out on the right wing, he's had 3 players on him, and he's got away from the 3 players. He cuts in inside. People say that he's got no end product and stuff like that. Well, I beg to differ. He's got goals, he's got assists, and I think he's been a selfless team player for the first 17 games. No one's mentioned him this week. I need to mention him today. Because no one's mentioned him, I have to mention him today. But what I will say is, just to finish off on this point, and I said this the other day, it's really good that we're all talking like this, that we're all saying, do you know what? I mean, if you've watched the shows this week, some of you today have said more than one player as well. You've picked a player and you said, but there should be a mention for this player, or some of you have picked two players. Isn't it nice that as a fan base, we can all discuss that we have said basically our back four, our goalkeeper, Madison, Sarr, Son, Kulusevski, that's 9 players. So we're mentioning 9 players that could be player of the season so far in people's different opinions. That's a good position for us to be in. It means that we must be doing something right.
It'd have been interesting if players like Madison and Van der Ven had stayed fit. Because obviously I've taken into account, I'm sure others have, the fact that they've been out for a while. But that's a really good shout about Decky. I mean, it's a really good shout. I had my doubts about how well he would settle into the role that he would play under Ange. But I've got to say, and in particular, the 2 games in which we were reduced to 10 men at Luton and where was the other one? At Forest. That his work rate, particularly when we were sacrificing strikers, his work rate was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal running that line. Tremendous.
Yeah, his fitness is off the charts.
It's good that we're talking about Kulusevski because a lot of Spurs fans were divided over him, and I don't understand it because they don't seem to realise how important he is to the team, and that he is still only 23 and his ceiling is this high, right?
Yeah.
If you go to his stats, he's played about 65 games, scored about 17 goals with 12 assists or something like that, or 12 goals and 17 assists. I think what it is. But if you look at him, right, he can play on the left wing, he can play on the right wing. He's so good at holding the ball up. In an emergency, he could play as a number 9. We know he can play as a number 10, right? He could play as an inverted fullback, right, because it's half midfield player anyway. He could play as a standard fullback. He could also play as a 6, as the holding player, and a number 8. And when people say, "Oh, how can you say that?" I say, "Well, look, Moussa Dembele's was a fantastic player and had Wanyama alongside him. His best attributes were being a ball-carrying number 8 and being able to hold the ball. Even in training, Spurs players can get the ball off him. Said he was most skillful. Wasn't a great goal scorer, but Kulusevski can carry the ball and he can hold on to it, and he's not easy to get the ball off. He can play the number 8 role. He can play 10, 8, 6, parking across the front 3. I mean, we should realise what a fantastic talent, and he's going to get better. He'll get better because when players get, as their footballing brain improves, his decision making will be better, and he'll be a better player. I just think he is my favourite player at Spurs, actually. So I'm biased in that respect. But
I'm biased because I like him because he's ginger too. So the ginger helps me. You gotta support. You gotta support your people, and the gingers are underrepresented in sports. So he is somebody that I care for a lot.
Obviously, Ange has got the luxury. Then, if he's going with 5 in midfield, I mean, you've got Basuma, you've got Sarr, you've got Bentancur, you've got Madison, and you even got Decky. That's why when we talk about bringing in players like Conor Gallagher, I think, well, when are you going to play? Are you going to squeeze up? So he's got. So I think Decky will keep being pushed out to the right, so as Ange can pick 3 from them other 4 when they're fit. But I mean, a Madison at 10, Decky at 8, and a Bentancur at 6. Wow. And you can interchange it. It's
quite an attacking midfield, but it's got enough steel. I agree. Yeah, that'd be great.
It's the sort of midfield you'd play at home to a low block team.
Yeah,
because you don't need to be ultra defensive. There are times you might want to put Sarr in there if you're away from home. So Ange has got a lovely headache with our midfielders when they're all fit. We've got no issue with midfield. I don't see why we're after anyone. We don't really need anyone.
Smoke screen, I think it's a smoke screen in midfield.
Yeah.
The famous Paratici smoke screen.
So I think what we'll do now then is we'll take a pause on we're only 2 questions in. I want to do them in segments, so I'm going to take a pause now, and we can go into guest corner.
Yay! Let me get the chair up, everybody. It is time for guest corner. And Jose, since this is your baby, please let everybody know what we're going to need from them today.
Okay, so for guest corner, we ask our guests and the panel to join in, but we ask our guests one moment of why they possibly became a Tottenham supporter, a memory they have of Tottenham. It could be a match, it could be a goal, it could be a celebration, it could be something which led on to something else. It's just so that the chatters can find out a bit more about yourselves. You can only have one though, because if you're going to be coming onto more shows or you're going to make comments, you can only do one at a time. So we only ask you for one. So it's one memory of Tottenham, whatever suits you. And Chan, we'll start with you first.
Boom. And get your comments in. I know I haven't been doing great on the comments, but we'll get the comments up for this and for the rest of the show. Everybody, give us a guest corner from yourself as well. And Chang, you're on the floor, buddy. Here we go.
All right. So my favorite memory of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club has got to be the first time I actually fell in love with the club. I'm going to let the panel or even any guests on the show to figure out this moment in time when that player scored that free kick against that goalkeeper in that cup tie at that stadium in which we went on to lift that trophy that year. That was the first time I actually fell in love with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. I had known of players like Gascoigne, Mapsy, Mabut, let me see who else, Chris Armstrong, just to name a few. The year before that, in Italia 1990, if anyone remembers that famous World Cup in Italy in 1990, that was actually the first time I saw live football in the wee hours of Asian morning when I was about 7, I guess, 7, not even 8. So I had an inclination as to what football is all about, but it never dawned on me that about a year later on, after that, when I was watching Spurs, because I'd seen Gascoigne played so well for England in Italia 90, I honestly thought that I was watching England again play against Arsenal. Little did I know that it wasn't England, but actually Spurs. And when Gascoigne scored that free kick against, let's see, I think it was David Seaman, I completely fell in love with him. I fell in love with the club. Spurs has been my team ever since that year. And I'm going to carry it to my grave, so to speak. It's going to be Tottenham till I die.
Beautiful.
Well, nice
story.
one. Nice one.
Absolutely. And I loved your delivery, the way that you brought us all there. You know, you kind of took us for a ride on that one. I liked it. So thank you for bringing us with you on that memory.
Over to Ian.
Yeah. I've talked about a couple of the famous games when I've done shows before. Mansfield away in the old second division, 3-3 in 1978, and going to Old Trafford in 1968 for the third round FA Cup, taken by my dad. But I'm going to go back a little bit before that. I used to support, people will laugh at this, I used to support Tottenham and Spurs because Jimmy Greaves played for both teams, till someone told me that there was actually Spurs and Tottenham were the same team. But I also had a little thing for Leeds. I was born in Leeds. And I also had a thing for Leeds. And sometimes, do I really support Spurs? Or, I was born in Leeds, should I support Leeds? And it must have been maybe 67, January 67, or something like that, being at Tottenham. Spurs played Leeds. I remember there was snow on the ground, playing with an orange ball. God, how football's changed again. And Spurs scored, and I jumped up and cheered. And from then, it was definitely Tottenham, and that was Leeds. That was Leeds gone out the window. I was definitely Spurs.
Sorry, Leeds.
Leeds. So no loss.
Well, that's another good one. That's great. I love kind of hearing like like the moments that you became fully Spurs. It's always good to hear.
Mm.
That brings us up to the next person on our list, though. The next person in our list for the questions, and it's Mr. Adrian Stroka himself. I'm excited to know what memory or moment we're getting today.
I've got so many. I think I did this one on Jose's before. I want to take everyone back to the 1984 UEFA Cup final second leg at White Hart Lane, because that is the game I'm talking about and what happened basically.
Yeah.
I mean, Anderlecht took the lead and Graham Roberts scored the equaliser. It goes to extra time and penalties, and Danny Thomas missed his penalty.
Yep.
And the crowd, this is what makes Spurs fans what they are. The whole crowd saying there's only one game.
Danny Thomas.
Right? And then we carry on through the penalty shootouts. I mean, I thought the best player over 2 games was Morten Olsen for them, but like he missed his penalty. But the real moment, because it's surreal, you don't realise it and you realise it at the same time, was when Tony Parks saved that critical penalty that meant that we'd won the UEFA Cup for the second time. And I remember the players running over to him, like,
Yeah.
And at first, you've got to take it in when you're sitting in a stand because you're thinking, we've won. You know what I mean? Or, if we won. It just hasn't quite sunk in, And but then you carry that winning feeling for it with you all week. You'd have to get a surgeon to take the smile off my face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was just fantastic. I've seen many moments there with the Spurs fans, and the reason I mention the fans is because I remember what Jurgen Klinsmann said when he was at the club the second time. He said, he turned on one day, he said, "There's something unique about this club, and we all know what it is. It's in the ether. You can't quite put your finger on it, but there is just something unique about being a Spurs fan and and a member of this club."
Adrian, that's brilliant. I was at that game, and there'll be a lot probably in the chat and the other guys. I don't know if Jose was there, that are way too young to remember it. But there was particularly the old White Hart Lane under the floodlights was really something else. In a big game under light, it was just so memorable, and that is one of the great games. And
that Mansfield game you went to, the 3-3, we were 3-2 down until Oddle scored that free kick.
Absolutely right, absolutely, and I got absolutely drenched. It poured with rain, and
the pitch was like a mud bath. You could do a program on Glenn Oddle. Harry could play the ball in such mud like that. You know what I mean?
I know. What a game!
That's one thing I'll never forgive myself for is not being able to make it to White Hart Lane before it was sadly demolished. Been to the new stadium, but it's just not. It's just not White Hart Lane.
You and me both.
Yeah. Unfortunately, at the new stadium, I did stand on that little circle that was, made from the ground of the real White Hart Lane. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I got to do that at least, though. So that's good.
That's
but no,
the spots in the south stand.
Yeah,
that's where the old centre spot was in the old ground. So we haven't moved ground like these other clubs. All we've done is just shunt it over a bit.
The stadium's moved about 20
like another lot in North London,
Yeah, it's just moved north, hasn't it? The stadium.
Yeah, just a tad north. Yeah.
North. Yeah, because the Park Lane still exists.
Oh yeah.
Keep us in North London for sure.
Yeah. North, as in because the camera position has moved as well, but it's moved towards. If you're watching now, Colin, the ground has actually moved further to the left as you look at it from where the current camera position is, which is now in the west stand as opposed to the east.
Interesting. Hashtag the more you know. The more you know. Another fact for the day. But yeah, guys,
we have had an excellent guest corner from all 3 guests.
We truly have. Thank you guys so much for sharing. We really appreciate it.
And now moving along to the next question. So the next question will be a series of 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do 3 or 4 more questions, and then we'll jump into another section. So,
these are quick. These are quicker too.
For Chan, it's right. One player will bring in a winter window. A name of a player, not position, just the name of the player who you think will bring in.
Okay, I'm just going to go very quickly on this. The one player I'm going to bring in, Lloyd Kelly.
All right.
Why do you think we're bringing in Lloyd Kelly from Bournemouth? Why?
Okay, very simply, looking at our current squad, I'm trying to bolster our numbers in the homegrown quota, assuming that there is concrete there is concrete evidence that Eric Dyer is actually being actively touted by Galatasaray and also by Sporting Lisbon. Assuming that is, Eric Dyer will look to leave either in January for Galatasaray or even going back to Sporting Lisbon come the summer transfer window. I would really like to bolster our homegrown numbers. It is one position which I feel the centre back position that is. There's one position I feel Lloyd Kelly will be suitable, not only with his quality but also his professionalism. Because you must understand that Mickey van der Ven, when he comes back fit, and Romero, these two are going to be our mainstay centre backs. So the chances are going to be very few and far between for anyone that's going to be our bench warmer. Let's put it this way. So Lloyd Kelly, I feel, is the consummate professional in that position. As much as I'd like to say maybe Tosin, what's his name? Ari Dabayo, yes, that's the one. Thank you, Jose. Ari Dabayo, or even the other one was Hinkate. Hinkate. Yeah, those are the names that I would definitely splash the big money on. But will those players actually get into our existing starting 11 if Mickey van der Ven and Romero are fit? So that's why I chose Lloyd Kelly from Bournemouth.
I like it. He's capable, but he wouldn't demand a starting spot, like you were saying. I think that's a great answer. It's a great answer.
Right, over to Ian. A player.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure we're necessarily looking for a replacement for Davis at the moment. But I'd have Googled the names, but I'm working on my phone rather than my laptop for this. I think my number one is the centre half from Nice, who I gather we're in quite a lot of
Tolibo. I can't
remember. Tolibo. Yeah.
You say
Tolibo,
I say
one. I think that's where we're going, and a close second behind that is the forward, the Mexican centre forward at Feyenoord. I think he absolutely would be brilliant for us. They're the two. I think we need one more up top, one more at the back, and I think they're the two. But the Nice boy, Tabsopa, is it? Is that how you pronounce it?
Todibo's the guy from Nice.
He's that's the name I'll give you.
So you have to John Clare Tobido or Santiago Jimenez from
Santiago Jimenez. That's it.
Both great players. I'd love to have either one of them. So
yeah.
Adrian, one player, one only, not seven. One.
This is difficult, right? And the reason it's difficult because we're getting all these names banned in all the news feeds I go to, and the underlying problem Spurs has is the homegrown issue. We got 5 players. This is why Skip and Sessegnon will not be leaving his club. Then you can add Maddison, Forster, and Johnson. 5 homegrown.
Skip.
Yeah, well, Skip. Yeah, I've mentioned it. Maddison, Skip.
Sessegnon, sorry.
5, right? So you would think, as much as I would like as much as I'd like him, Lloyd Kelly's looking a good option. He's looking like the main man simply because when we look at Tosin Adebarara, what you have to remember is Fulham are in the semi-final of the EFL Trophy. The first leg's on the 10th of January, the return leg's on the 24th of January, and the window shuts at the end of January. So I don't think, if he's got any ambition at all, I don't think Tosin Adebarara's going anywhere. I don't think there was time to do a deal, unless you could do a deal like, well, if we get knocked out of the League Cup, I'll come to your club. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to see out this season at Fulham, because then he's on a free. He can demand a big signing on fee and everything else.
Bigger wages, yeah, for sure.
If it's homegrown, it's looking more like Lloyd Kelly. But then again, that's not difficult because if Bournemouth are in relegation, they can afford to stay to the So this is hard. It makes the likes of Ben Godfrey, or I don't really
That's
want.
who I was going to ask. That's who I was going to ask.
A more likely candidate, you know. But then we've been linked with Caceres in Team America, Uruguayan. You know, I would like him Cappy at Bayer Leverkusen.
Oh, he looks a player for sure.
He's been squeezed out. Tar and Tapsoba. They've changed from a back three to a back two. So Tar and Tapsoba, one's playing for him. So in Cappy, he's left-footed like Kelly. I'd like a left footer. As it's a homegrown issue, as much as I'd like other players, I'm gonna go with Sammy Chang. I'm going Lloyd Kelly because he can play left back as well, and so can Van der Ven. And we know Ange likes versatile players, you know. So I'm gonna go with Lloyd Kelly.
Nice. Okay, Lloyd Kelly. Colin, do you think you can find one?
Yeah. Godfrey, you've got me sold on Godfrey. I wasn't until I talked to you a bit about him during the show, during the past weeks where we discussed rumors and whatnot. I think Godfrey would be a great addition. He, like those other players mentioned, can play multiple positions. He's serviceable on the left at least, and. Yeah, I like the look of him. Just watch, some highlight videos, and all you're going to see in a defender's highlight video is successful tackles and things like that. But I liked what I saw. He looks a good player. He looks physically imposing enough. I think he'd be great. So that's my choice, and I think it's realistic. So. That's it.
Right, so with the homegrown players, I'm just going to say for people with homegrown players, is some people will become homegrown players next year from our squad. Will be able to become homegrown players next season.
Is Saar going to be homegrown?
Yeah, Saar will be one because he's done 3 years before he was 21, even though he was on loan. Now, I've had an argument with someone else about that. I checked the rule today. And my understanding of the rule is, I stand to be corrected, is that Saar will be homegrown next season.
And then also as well,
get through this season, yeah. And that 25-man squad's got to be announced again after the January transfer. I think 2 weeks after or something like that.
And then also as well, we've got two goalkeepers, two homegrown goalkeepers that we never ever will use. So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. Right. As for players, I think you've all announced how many players you've all got coming in, and who's coming and whatever. So I think a lot of the names have been spoken about out there. Personally, I would have wanted to see Tanibo coming in from Nice. However, I did say on previous shows that I find that might not be a starter because of the Ineos connection, them owning Nice, and the links that they've got with Man United with Sir Jim Ratcliffe going there. So I think he either gets a bumper pay rise and new contract, which then moves his price from 30 to 35 million it is now, and more or less near enough doubles, where it means that teams are going to walk away from it, and then they'll sell him to Man United for 20 million, something silly like that. So homegrown, I don't know about them touching Lloyd Kelly. I know Lloyd Kelly was the buzz in the summer, but he's been injured, and I'm not sure whether Tottenham want to take a risk with an injured player. So I'm not sure about him. For me, I think if it's one player that we'll bring in, I'm going to stick my neck out. I know we need a centre-half, but because of the supposed finances situation and stuff like that, I reckon they'll probably get a lone player in like Jota. But I know we need a centre-half, so I'm just going to say Jota. Right.
I think it's definitely coming in. And real quick, I want to say hey to the people in the chat. I just throw out some names of the people that we see here. We've got so many, but we've got. Oh my gosh. We've got Beer Talk. We've got Elias, David Clark, Chris Peter, Mr. M, Donna Severs, some Eltel Cockerell guy. We've got Cosmic Sean, my downstairs neighbor Sean, who's become one of my best friends. We've got we've got Jacob Walraven, United Spurs of America himself. Dry Roast Peanut, Alex Hilton, if I didn't say him. So many people. Nita's been in the chat. Thank you to everybody for joining in. We really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much to everybody who has joined in. You guys make the show. It wouldn't be anything without y'all. So thank you very much for that. And so, Jose, we've got through the player that you'll bring in. So,
the next question is to Chan, and
who would you bring in, Colin? Did you say yours?
Yeah. I said I wanted to bring in Godfrey. Yep.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
And then Chan, the next question is to you: is how many incomings do you think we'll get in the winter window?
Oh, this question.
Yep.
We
don't like to make it easy on people.
Okay. Realistically, I'd say only one. Knowing Levy, knowing our finances, and knowing the current climate in the footballing transfer circles, because Ange himself has come out in public now in his press conference and said that he would really make do with a centre back right now. I think it's just the one centre back that it's going to bring in. We could see maybe another loan, because I doubt it any other player would want to take a big risk at this point in their career to make the move to N17 with the Euros coming up, because you're either so desperate to join Spurs on a loan in order to secure a starting berth for your country if it's taking part in Euro 2024. So, as to answer your question, how many incomings? Maybe one permanent signing. Hopefully, I hope it's Lloyd Kelly. If not, then maybe another centre back that Ange fancies, and maybe one potential loan, maybe a cover for Richarlison if he does pick up another injury. But that's about it. Just one permanent signing and one loan for this coming transfer window.
Boom, boom. So we've got hopefully two. Shane says, I'm hoping for more than that, and I don't know what Ian. What are you thinking on incomings?
I think people are going to be surprised this window. I
From your mouth to God's ears, my friend.
I think this talk about having no money is quite clever, because we know we sold Harry Kane for a lot of money, and if the club's putting it about that, well, actually we actually spent the Harry Kane money, paying for Porro and paying for Decky, who were promises from previous seasons, and the money for Maddison and whoever else we signed for Cario, saying that, well, that's that 100 million gone. I think quite a lot of that was actually earmarked from previous transfer windows. But if the club are putting that about, then good on them, because the last thing you want to do is say we've got 100 million pounds to spend. Who wants to fleece us for it? And if anybody subscribes to The Athletic, have a read today about the 100 million that clubs have basically fleeced them for players that they brought in. For example, they had a budget of 25 million. They valued Anthony at 25 million and managed to get fleeced for, I think, 82 million for him. So that's exactly how you do not run a football club. But going back to your question, I think people are going to be surprised. I think there'll be 3, maybe even 4 coming. I mean, if we can get Jota on loan, I think they may take him, albeit I'm not 1,000,000% convinced he's Premier League quality, albeit he's a lovely player to watch. A bit touch of the Alfie Cons about him for those old enough to remember Alfie. I think we'll get a centre forward, I think, or a main striker, remembering Solly's off to Asia. We'll get a central defender. Might be Kelly, but I'm not sure. I'm inclined to agree. I don't think Bournemouth will let him go. I think the money that they'll lose if they get relegated is worth far more than any fee they might get now. And remember, we're losing Bissouma and we're losing Sarr to the Cup of Nations, so I wouldn't be surprised if we brought in a midfield player as well. Whether some of them might be on loan, I don't know, but I think we'll get 3. And if Jota comes in, that will be a 4th. That would be my gut, and especially as well if Højbjerg is allowed to leave, we would absolutely need to bring in a replacement for him. So I'm saying 3 or 4.
That is league title challenging. 3 or 4 players coming in, I tell you.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. you're right. But I think things are changing. The fact that there's so many people, quality people coming behind the scenes, I think is a statement itself. And I think Ange will believe he can mount a challenge. We're only 6 points behind, despite all the problems we've had. 6 points is not a lot at this stage of the season.
And just to make people aware, Ian lives up in Scotland and has followed Ange at Celtic, so knows a lot of what Ange and how he goes about his business. So, a good insight there from Ian.
Yeah.
Adrian, what you
Love
say?
the positivity, Ian. I'm going for 3, 4 if we bring in a youngster. If we bring in a youngster, and I'm talking like an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, one of them, right? Because I know we're looking at 3 in particular anyway. Centre back definitely. Midfielder, if we know, well, Højbjerg's going, isn't he, in the summer, whatever happens, because look, he might even go in January. The Euros are coming up, so Højbjerg and Gill, you could see them going in January, which would free up a bit of money. We still haven't drawn that 50 million we had in the bank, and we got the Kane money. So I agree with Ian. Right, there's money there. Don't worry about that. And you don't need an absolute fortune to buy players. All you need is about 45 million. If you go to clubs and go like, here's 15 million down payment, they'll bite your hands off for it. These clubs in Europe are skint, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Paratici's working as a consultant with Langer in the background.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised, as we've been linked with players in Italy, again, as usual, Juventus especially, right? So that wouldn't surprise me. Even the Torino centre-back we've been looked at. I'd go with 3. I mean, I could mention the kids' names we're interested in as well if you want to hear them. But, so I'm looking at one of them possibly on loan, as Ian says. Jota on loan because of his wages.
Yeah.
But I do question why he went to Saudi Arabia just for the money and lack of ambition at his age of 24. And like I said before, if El Ittihad or whatever his club is, but it's the Saudi state that buys all these players and drip feed them to other clubs. So why hasn't then Jota gone to another Saudi club? If they're over, you know, it's just something about that. He obviously something's unsettled, or if he's unsettled, that's fair enough. But
I don't know. I mean, if you could just be a good footballer, right? But not like love it, and that happens sometimes. Where there's
Makoto was like that, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And so maybe he just, I mean, is a good player of the game, but doesn't have a love for it. And so he was offered a lot of money, took it, because you could get your ankle done at any time and be done forever, your knee or your ankle. And
he went apparently from something like being paid £15,000 a week at Celtic to like 125,000 a week in Saudi. I mean, the disparity in the wages between what was being offered in Saudi Arabia and what top wages are in Scotland is huge. There's been rumours about why he's not settled in Saudi. I'm not going to go into them on a live broadcast.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go into it on a live broadcast.
Good man. Yeah, I appreciate you, Ian. But yeah.
And for you, Mr. Colin, how many do you think?
This many.
3.
3 for everybody that can't see. I think that we're going to get 3 in, and I think that one of them, though, will be Jota, most likely on a loan. I could see them doing some weird thing where they just pay off his contract and give him to us, too, if we wanted him. But I'm not sure we would want to take that risk. So probably like a loan with an option there. I think we'll bring in a defender, and I think that we'll bring in an attacking player, and I don't think any of our midfield will go anywhere. So I just think we'll be stuck with the midfield we've got until summer. So
I think just to add to that, Colin, I think the deals will be done early because our recruitment team should have been working in the background even before we get to the last 11
days. We have so many
week.
people on it. Yeah, exactly. How many people do we have working on transfers? 3, 4, 5? No?
Yeah, you've got Scott Munn and you've got Johan Lang, didn't you?
You know, Levy's working on it. You know,
Miley Yedemek as well, haven't you? So there's a little team there. But the other reason I say Andrew want them in early because if you get them early in January, from the 14th to the 30th is the winter break. He'll have time to work with them. You know, that'll give him time to work with any new players that are brought in.
Adrian, can I just follow that up? As I remember this time last year, I know it's coming from Asia, but Celtic announced like 3 players, and I can't remember which ones they were, and Iwata and what have you. They announced them like on the 30th of December. I mean, obviously they couldn't sign until the 1st, but that work was all done. And I don't know if there's a winter break in Japan or whatever. I don't know. But those deals were announced, like Celtic's business for the winter, I'm pretty sure was like done by the 3rd or 4th of January. Maybe Chang wants to come in here, but I'll smash the like button. I think that's what he's pointing at. Yeah, okay. Much more important than making signings. Smash the like button.
Hey,
I was about to ask Colin. Colin, earlier you mentioned the 3 signings. You did mention one Jota. You also mentioned a centre back, if not mistaken. Who would your preferred centre back signing be if you were given a choice?
Godfrey from Everton would be my main choice.
Okay, that's a good choice. Very good choice.
I like this, that he's a little versatile. I also thought that Everton, being in their situation, would need money really badly. But then I've seen them slap that insane 100 mil price tag on that kid. What's his name?
Braithwaite? Is it Braithwaite?
Yeah, Braithwaite. They said that he's got 100 mil. Like they wouldn't take anything less than 100 mil for him. So if that's how they're acting with him, then I'm not sure that that Godfrey will be as cheap as I thought. So might have to reevaluate that one. I don't know. I don't know if Everton are looking to sell. I mean, I know they really need players to stay up this season. What with their 1 points deduction, possible 2nd points deduction coming. So yeah, it might be tough to get players away from Everton. So Lloyd Kelly might be the better option. I've also always liked Tosin Adarabioyo. I thought he was a good player. But he supposedly was. I think he's been worried about playing time. I don't know if he would come. There's stuff where he wanted to go to what was it? Somewhere in France. I don't know. He wanted to go to another club, Monaco, over us in the summer. Not sure if he'd come. So it's tough. You were saying that you wanted Lloyd Kelly. Not a bad choice at all. I wouldn't be upset at all with the Lloyd Kelly type signing. I think some fans would, though. Some fans would say like it's not a big enough name. I also would be fine with the signing I had never heard of. You know what I mean? If Ange has some kind of list of players, that he's caught eye of that nobody else has, or some secret plans he's got cooking up, I'd be happy with an Ange special that I've never heard of. Somebody from the J League or something like that. That'd be sweet.
We're not going to pay like a 60-70 million pound for Braithwaite when you could go to Juventus and get Bremer for that. You'd get an oven-ready, proven centre back who's virtually world class.
Braithwaite looks like a child. Like I looked at a picture of him and I was like,
you could go back for Tapsoba for that as well. In Cappy. But one name that's crept up again is Sebastian Caceres from the Uruguayan. Argentinian. Jose knows a little bit about him. He's a centre half. He would be a very cheap option actually. Uruguayan international, born in Argentina, and I think he can also play at right back, which is handy. I don't play Emerson at all, but there you go.
A lot would depend upon his. Sorry, go on, Karen.
I was going to say, listen to every single one of you. I think we'll have 2 incomings. I'd rather have a lot more incomings because I want to see this squad shape up as quickly as possible, but Rome wasn't built in a day. And I think the incomings are based on other factors. So I'm going to say 2 incomings. I'm not going to tell you the positions. I'm just going to say 2 incomings, although I'd like to share the enthusiasm that Ian and Adrian have got with the 3s and 4s. I'd like to be even more enthusiastic and go for 5s and 6s. But I'm going to say 2 because I think there's a lot of moving parts. So I'm going to say 2 for the time being. If we get anything more than 2, I'll be a pleased person.
January's been pretty kind to us. If you look for our buyers in January, because we got Delian in January, we got Lucas Moran in January, and he did a job for us at the time.
Yeah, he was useful at the time.
We got Bentancur and Kulusevski in January, and we got Porro in January. That's not a bad 5, guys. Let's be fair.
What do you make? Sorry, Mr. Adrian, if you don't mind me asking, what do you make of the Danjuma loan signing earlier this year? The Danjuma loan signing earlier this year. What do you make of it, Mr. Adrian?
Complete and utter flop, wasn't it? That was going back to the bad old days of bad recruitment. He can't even get a game in the Everton team now. He's gone there where we took him off them. I think we wanted a striker and we got a bit desperate. And I think, was that before Solomon come in?
Yeah, that was before Solomon. Yeah.
You see, so I think we got him because it wasn't costly, was it? Have a look. All right, no thanks. See you
He
later.
looked threatening. He always looked threatening when he would come on, though. Was one thing
He
I have to say.
he scored a nice goal away, didn't he, in the league in the corner? I forget who it against now. I think he scored a couple of goals.
If you're looking to win
he
things,
wasn't-
you got to look beyond Danjuma now and forever in the future. Right,
Fair.
I'm going to go to the next question because otherwise we'll never finish the questions off. So the next question is for Chang again, and it's: will any players leave in January? If so, how many and who?
Okay, I'm just going to go
you gotta
very
go first, buddy.
and very practical on this next question. The only departure that I can see leaving in a fortnight's time, assuming that this player really wants to leave immediately, the only player I can see who will want to leave immediately and push for an exit will be Højbjerg. Højbjerg will be the one player who is looking to guarantee his starting 11 berth for the national Danish team in the upcoming Euros 2024. So if he's really starved for game time, I can see Højbjerg wanting to push to leave. Although I have to caveat this, saying that because Bissouma is now going to be suspended until maybe early or middle of February, as things stands, and assuming also that Pape Matar is going to go quite far into the AFCON Cup with his national team, maybe Ange might block the move for Højbjerg to leave. But if there would be if there's any players going to leave, the most likely outgoing would be Højbjerg. That's just my take.
Over to you, Ian.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure about Højbjerg, and I think if Højbjerg's going, we will be getting in a Conor Gallagher or a similar type of player. I don't see them letting Højbjerg go, particularly with the Cup of Nations coming up and Bentancur having had his injury problems, unless there is a ready-made replacement. I would imagine Lloris will go. They'll come up with some sort of deal to let him go. How that didn't happen in the summer, I don't know, and I don't know what at his age Lloris's game is. I suspect as well that Perisic, they may just pay up Perisic and allow him to go, because I don't see any realistic prospect of him playing again. The other person I think people need to keep an eye on is whether with Eric Dyer's position, and whether he decides, all right, I'll go on a free now, because I think we would give him a free rather than making him hang around like a bad smell, because he clearly doesn't fit in with the manager's plans, and rightly. And again, if we're bringing in a centre half rather, Davis has done really well in the last couple of games when he's played. Ashley Phillips is, I think, close to fitness, and I think he's in the squad for tomorrow. So that might make Dyer surplus to requirements as well. So those three, certainly the first two, I think definitely, and Dyer a possibility. Højbjerg only if there's a ready-made replacement coming in.
You can add Ndombele to your list, Ian, I think.
Oh God!
You kind of almost forget he's there at times.
Jesus! So. Oh, don't ruin my Christmas. Make me think about him.
The show was going well till you said that.
It was going beautifully well, Adrian. I was thinking, I've not broadcast with you before.
I think he's having a Big Mac for his Christmas dinner.
Oh, what? Do you know?
I think Chang might be frozen in a very funny way. There's your back, Chang. You're frozen, and you had your hands up like this. I was like, Chang is feeling it.
To have, just to finish what Adrian was saying, to have no ability, but to work hard to compensate for your lack of ability in anybody, I'll respect that. But to have ability like he has in spades and to not apply yourself, I think is
frustrating.
It's criminal. It's absolutely criminal.
Oh no, we lost Chang. Oh, Chang's back. Yay.
Okay, is anyone's stream acting up?
No,
Is
mine's
anybody's
fine, I think.
stream not acting out, or is it just me? Okay, all right, okay. Sorry about that. It's just me then.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Everything looks great now too, man. So no worries. But I
Yeah,
want to put us
thank you.
back next
Thank
to
you.
each other
Everyone
because
was
we're both
sort
here.
of timing out on my screen, so it's all good. Thank you.
Awesome.
Adrian,
Awesome. Glad to
Adrian,
have
your
you back.
question to you, mate. Will any leave in January?
Well, I mean, Dyer and Lloris are pretty good, and Ndombele could be paid up. You know, I mean, I'm just wondering whether like there's been German clubs and other clubs interested in Reguilon, so he's at Man United.
Reguilon.
They might even want him, so we'd get some money for him. Like I said before, Sessegnon will say Perisic will go. You've got Tanganga's not getting game out online. I can see we might get rid, as in loans as well, Jose, as well.
Yeah. Because
Tanganga,
what you've got to
he's
realise,
not having it at Spurs, is it? Lo Celso's in the squad tomorrow, so I think Lo Celso will go because he'll, you know, but it's a question whether it's tomorrow night and Gill. But yeah, Spence and Roden, I think Leeds will come in from both of them in the summer. They'll want both. But if Spence kicks on, who knows? Ends might see something in him. I mean, I've not really had a look at him. Has any of you?
No. Adrian, funnily enough, when I was sort of predicting things on streams before the season, I thought Spence was much more a natural right back in an Ange system than Porro was, particularly because of his defensive abilities, and I thought he could play that inverted role really well. Clearly, what's wrong with him is probably the same as Ndombele, is what's going on in his head. But I wouldn't rule out Spence coming back and Porro being, particularly if you wanted to play Decky in that number 8/10 role alongside Maddison. That would free up Porro to play wide right, which I actually think is a role that would suit him so well under Ange. So
yeah, he looks good going forward. It's a positional play that's questionable.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that was the main issue with Reguilon as well. Looks good. And I hadn't really seen enough of. I'd seen enough of Reguilon. You know, I like to see a season out of a player before I, you know, judge.
Quite right.
Yeah. And you like, you know, but like Spence, like I say, looked good going forward. He's playing left back for Leeds the other day, so and did well. Had a good game apparently. So.
I haven't been watching him closely enough on this loan. That's my bad. I need to be doing more of that.
And just another question for you guys. I mean, with the whole transfer situation, we've been linked with Conor Gallagher, we've been linked with Phillips, right? But we know how good, if we put Decky into the mix of 5 of our midfields are, is Conor Gallagher and that going to get a game? You know, is Calvin Phillips going to get a game? And where are you going to fit him in?
Only if.
I prefer Stark over either of those two, you know?
But I think the only thing I'll say to caveat anything that we're talking about today is that when you announce the squad to finish the season off at the end of the transfer window, you can only make 3 changes to your 25-man squad. So if you're going to bring in 3 players or more, the players over 3 players will have to be under 21 players. Otherwise, you can only register 3 players. So just be mindful. Yeah.
Well, I think for one of those guys to come in, one of the guys that you mentioned, we would have to get rid of Højbjerg. I know Conor Gallagher and Højbjerg don't play like the same exact midfield position, really. Like that Højbjerg is more of a holding mid than Conor Gallagher is. But
well, Dyer, Lloris, Perisic, and then Ndombele are 4 foreign players. If you got a shot of them, that frees up a lot of spaces.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But our midfield, like you said, is so congested that I think without Højbjerg leaving, that we don't bring in another midfielder.
And that's why I think, and the reason I hint on him leaving, if you notice, like Skip's been getting a little bit of game time recently. It might be the sign that, you know, Højbjerg, you're going either January or later. He'll want
Chang, how would you feel about that? Would you be okay with Højbjerg leaving?
Yeah.
Chang, what about you, buddy?
Okay, sorry about that. I was on mute. Yeah, this goes back to my original suggestion for Højbjerg leaving. Honestly, I would really love to see him stay because he has been the consummate professional in the squad, and he has really done great things for Ange and the team whenever it's been called upon to take to the pitch. However, the question remains, will he get enough game time for him to have a guaranteed starting berth in the Danish national team come the Euros 2024? So I think it'll be down to the player himself to see whether he wants to push for a transfer notice, and whether Ange is happy for him to remain in the squad to deputize for both Hape Matassa and Bissouma when they leave for the AFCON.
Great answer. Great answer. Yeah, absolutely.
And how much?
It's all a lot of moving parts.
How much do you think Conor Gallagher or Calvin Phillips would cost us, guys?
You're asking me? Are you asking me, Adrian?
Any of you? Like, really?
Yeah,
I think you're looking at 50 million anyway, aren't you? In today's market.
That would be my price range as well. 50 million will do it. Will do the trick.
What for Conor Gallagher? And what about Calvin Phillips?
Same, similar, yeah.
Around the same price range, maybe around maybe 50 or even 55, but not more than 60. That's for sure.
Well, I wouldn't go for either of them. I'd take 30 million of that money. I'd go to Royal Antwerp and I'd give him 30 million for Arthur Vermeeren. He's 18 years of old, and the kid is absolute class at 18. He dominated the game against Barcelona, I think, for him. He scored a goal. You know, I mean, everyone's looking in him at Europe, and with good reason. The kid is quality, and you'd get him for that. You'd get him for 30 mil.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move it along to the next question, because otherwise we're going to stay on this one for too long. So, right, Chan, moving on to you. Right, is who will be our player of the season come the end of this year? Who is our player of the season? You had 17 games so far. We have another 19 games to play. No, another 21 games to play. Right. So, who do you think we'll be talking about as our player of the season come the end of the season? Is it still Vicario for you, or will we be talking something else?
It's going to be Vicario for me.
Okay.
For the simple fact, because Mickey Van der Ven will still be out for a few more months. Hopefully he'll be back soon. But not for long. Until we get both our centre backs back fully fit, and until we can get the likes of Bissouma or even Hape Matassa or even Bentancur back, we're going to need a lot of skill in the back line. I am looking towards Guillermo Vicario to be our player of the season and really solidify that back line, and hopefully be able to build on that, on Vicario being our stand-up player of the season. And here's to Vicario being our mainstay number one for many seasons to come. Not only but for many seasons to come as well.
Here. Yes, sir.
Ian, who's going to be our player of the season at the end of the season?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be Maddison. He made a fantastic start to his career at Tottenham. Played like he's always played for us, and that takes some doing. If we're going to be really successful, and that's push towards the top of the league and push towards the FA Cup, it will be players that score and make goals that will be the ones that make the difference. So I'm going to go for a more forward-looking player. I think if we're relying on Vicario, we're not maybe pushing on as much as we'd like Chang. So I'm going to go with Maddison in the real hope that that's a sign that we're scoring a lot of goals, creating a lot of chances, and maybe even winning a cup and pushing for the league in those last 21 games.
Like I keep saying, from your lips to God's ears. Sorry about that.
Right, over to you, Adrian. What do you think? Who's going to be our player of the season coming in the season?
Vicario is going to be our player of the season because he's going to save us over 20 odd points during the season. Be instrumental in the fact that when Son lifts the FA Cup and we finish third in the league.
And Colin.
So I'm going to say
you went for Kulu up until, who did you go for player so far of the season?
I think so. Player so far of the season?
Yeah, who did you go for earlier?
You went for Star.
Sorry, I went for Sar. But I don't think Sar is going to be our player of the season. I think our player of the season will most likely be Vicario, like everyone else is saying. But Van de Ven, if he comes back, if he's able to come back and play to the level he did before, he was such a good sweeper back there. He did all the sweeping that Vicario was having to do with his speed. So VDV might also edge it if he can come back and finish the season strong.
Okay. So for me, I'm going to go completely left field from everybody. and I'm gonna throw it out there because it's our show anyway. I'm gonna go for fully fit Rodrigo, the governor, Bentancur.
Good
Because Bentancur, in 27 minutes that Bentancur played, he showed what I've been screaming about for the last 18 months. This guy, once he gets a run of games together, he will be considered world class. He is absolutely brilliant. And I want Bentancur to come back fit. And I was going to say this anyway, but there was a comment from Alex Hilton that he put on there just now.
Yeah.
And this is our player of the season, and this is Alex's comment.
Can I just quickly add to that, Jose, on Bentancur being your choice for player of the season? Do you seriously think that Bentancur will still be the same Bentancur when it comes back from injury, or will there be some negative ill effects from his prolonged time on the sidelines?
Okay, so I said if he comes back free of injury. I don't know. Did you see his appearance for 27 minutes in the Villa game?
Yeah.
He was
great.
Absolutely
He was excellent.
different gravy. Complete different gravy. No one could get near his ball playing, his awareness. He looks so comfortable. He never looks like he's going to be dispossessed. He always plays the right pass. He does everything absolutely properly. He's cream to have in your team. He's pure cream. He's a delight. So, but yeah, the comment that we had a minute ago. Sorry, I just wanted to go back. What did Alex Hilton say? There it is. Bentancur, when he scores the FA Cup final winner, will be our player of the season.
Yeah.
Well said, Alex Hilton. Sorry,
and there's the man himself right there.
Alex Hilton, Scott M, Daniel Lee, and there was somebody else. I haven't had any predictions from you guys. If you put your predictions in, I'll put you in, but they have to be from tonight onwards.
Yeah. Some of them have got them in here in the chat. I see.
I've got the ones that are in the chat already.
Okay. Awesome.
So these people are the ones that I'm missing. Right. So, Colin, sorry, who was your player of the season going to be? Oh, you said yours already because I said mine. Right.
Yeah, Vicario or VDV, depending.
Okay. So we're back to Chan. The next question is: we're currently 5th. What position will we finish in the league? Chris, this is crystal ball gazing we're doing at the moment for the last question and this one and the next one.
Okay, I'm just going to throw this out there. I hope we get to finish 3rd, although that might be a big ask with our current squad so threadbare thin right now at the moment. But I really do hope we finish 3rd, maybe even 4th at the very least, so that we at least have some Champions League games to look forward to and possibly some world-class recruits before Euro 2024 or even maybe just after Euro 2024 if we do qualify for Champions League again. But I really am hoping that we finish either 3rd or 4th. Anything more than 3rd or 4th for us this season will be a complete bonus. Thank you.
Yeah, agreed, man. No, thank you. So then that brings us to Ian.
I'm going to go with 2nd. I like my glass half full. I think
I like it all the way full.
I'd love to see us winning it. It'd be interesting to see Arsenal are playing very well, but we've talked about Arsenal at this stage in the previous 2, if not 3 seasons, and they've always found a way to bottle it. So Arteta just seems to, when he flies off the handle, I'm not sure how well that goes down with his players. Rice has really improved them, but I see them finishing 3rd because they'll bottle it again. The team I can't see pass for the league at the moment is Liverpool. For all Klopp's whinging, I just see Liverpool winning the league. I don't see City. I think the thing about City is, they've got good players to come back, not least of which the Belgian De Bruyne, whose name has temporarily escaped me.
You got it. That's
is gonna come back, but I just think it's so difficult after they won the treble last year to keep motivating yourself week after week after week. to do it against. And we talked about the strength of the English league. There is just you just can't switch off for a minute. So I don't think I see them even finishing fourth this season. Maybe I'll make a fool of myself with that comment. But yeah, let's be optimistic. Let's say we're going to bring in some players, and you'll get a run of players with free of suspensions, free of injuries, and we're going to finish a narrow second behind Liverpool.
Boom! Gosh, I would love that more than anything.
I like the positivity that we had from the first two guests. Adrian, are you going to continue this positivity?
Yeah, I said third, didn't I, in an FA Cup? So,
Third and an FA Cup.
You were putting them in the chat the last few days, but I don't know whether our guests have seen it, so that's why I had to ask you. Anyway, I've seen it putting it for the last 4 days. So.
My optimism is based, not being delusional, as you've been in some other podcasts again. My optimism is based on we've got 8 massive points this season, which we wouldn't normally get. We beat Man United and Liverpool home for 6 of them, and we drew away at Man City and Arsenal. And not many teams are going to do that. And they've all got to play each other in this round robin of games. All right, we've still got to go to Newcastle, Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool, right? But that's about it. And with the points up for grab, what we got? How many games we played? 17. That leaves.
We're not quite halfway through. I don't think.
2 more games to get to the halfway stage.
Right, that leaves 21 games, right? Which is 63 points. If you work it out on average since 1992 in the inauguration of the Premier League, on average it's 72 points to get top 4. That's just top 4, right? We're well on target for that. I think we could still, in theory, lose 7 or 8 games and get top 4. I haven't quite done the math, so I'll be corrected on that. And that's not going to happen when we get our players back fit. So, no, I can see us getting third. And I can see us winning the FA Cup. We're at home in the first match. Why not? Why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Colin.
Anywhere from second to third. It's if I had to put a number on it, I'll say third as well. Third is my choice. Behind most likely City and Liverpool. But yeah, we'll solidly get third. We'll finish above the scum from Woolwich, the Wanderers. So yeah, third for me.
Right. Okay. So for me, I'm going to be absolutely consistent in what I've said, and my consistency has been: I don't care what anybody else does. I don't care, and I'm not going to watch for other results. The only people I care in is Tottenham Hotspur. Anything we do this season is within Tottenham Hotspur's gift. It's down to us to play our matches and rely on our own results and not have to rely on anyone else. I will also say, you're quite right, Adrian, everybody has to play each other twice. And a lot of the people above us have still got to play each other a fair few times. There will be games won, there will be games lost, there will be games drawn along the way. We can see that Man City are not running away with it like everybody thought. It's going to be a closer season than what people actually think. So, with a crystal ball, bearing in mind, if we get our players back and we're free of injury and we don't get a bad run again in the second half of the season, if we do some transfer activity in January and we play to our capabilities, there is no reason whatsoever why we cannot go on and win the league.
Yes.
I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 3 better than the rest of you. I'm going to win the league. There's no point entering if you want to come second, third, fourth. There's no point.
Hell yeah.
If you enter a competition, it's because you want to win it. End of story.
Boom.
Chan, go on.
Boom,
Chan
boom.
wants to say something. Look, go on, Chan. What do you want to say?
You either go big or you go home. That's all I have to say. You either dream big and you go big or you go home. That's all I have to say about that.
100%.
Right.
Absolutely.
And the last one of the crystal gazing one is, and it's over to you, Chan. We know that we played Burnley in the FA Cup because the draw has now been made, right? So how far will we go on in the FA Cup?
I hope we really do make it all the way to the final. Whether or not we win the competition is a whole different ball game because we know what Spurs have been like in the cup finals for a good decade or so now. But I really
no Harry Kane now.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, I really do feel that we have an outside chance of going all the way to the final. I would really, really love to see us lift that illustrious FA Cup, of which I've been a great fan of since, like I mentioned at the very beginning of the show, since I became a fan of the club. And since the last time we actually won the FA Cup in the year which I became a fan. So here's to us going all the way to the final of the FA Cup. Fingers crossed we might actually lift it and break our cup hoodoo or our barren silverware run, because these jokes of us being trophyless and all that is, guys, right, for all the rival fans who are tuning in, who are laughing at us, the empty silverware cabinet is those jokes are, oh, I'm done with those jokes. We are going to lift silverware soon, either this season or the season to come. The silverware is coming with big engine at the helm.
You know the jokes will continue. We'll continue. The jokes will continue. They'll say, "Oh, it's just a cup. It's not the league trophy." You know what I mean? We're gonna get stick wherever we can. You know, wherever they can give it to us. But let's get a trophy and yeah, get that, break that duck. I think is what they say. I don't really know why.
Ian, what do you think? How far?
Yeah, I think we're long overdue winning the cup. So, I mean, when Chang spoke earlier about his most memorable game that made him a Spurs fan, he talked about the 1991 FA Cup semi-final. That it's almost inconceivable that was the last time we won the cup, because we won it that year, and I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, but that was the 8th time we'd won it. And at that time, that was a joint record for the number of FA Cup wins. And in that 30 years, the clubs, you know, the Man Uniteds, the Arsenals have absolutely run away with us. So it's long overdue that we had a period of you know, of proper success. So I'm saying that we're going to win the FA Cup this year.
We were going bankrupt back there as well in 1991. Do you remember the new stand?
Yeah.
And then we get in the final, and Gazza does that tackle, and today Roger Milford would have sent him straight off. He was a ref during that game. But I liked Roger Milford as a ref. Always seemed to do well for us, like, you know. Yeah.
But I mean, when you think about VAR in that game, he would have undoubtedly gone. But then the Forest goal from Pierce would have been disallowed for the foul when they pushed the wall out the way. So, you know, a very, very different game. But
God bless him, may he rest in peace, the way Justin Edinburgh wasn't taking no shit off of Roy Keane. Them two had a nice tussle.
No, not Roy Keane. Yeah, Roy Keane. It was Roy Keane.
Yeah, it was Roy Keane then. He was at Forest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely right. But yeah, how Gazza stayed on the field for that tackle is, a miracle, almost a minor miracle, and he wouldn't have got away with it today. Probably even without VAR.
Adrian, you've already said we're going to win the FA Cup because you said it for 4 days and you said it today as well. So we're winning the FA Cup. Colin, where are we going with the FA Cup?
I'm with Chang. We'll get to the final. Will we win the final? Yes, we're gonna win the final, everybody. We're gonna do it. Tottenham are going to finally break this curse, and we'll get a trophy. And this will just be the beginning. Once one comes in, I think they're all going to kind of start coming in. Players are going to, you know, have finally like seen what it's like to win, what it takes to win, and it'll help us in the future to bring more trophies in. So. I'm
going to jump on the Ian, Adrian, and he's not with us today, but Jimbo. I'm going to jump on the bandwagon, and I'm going for an FA Cup victory. And to jump on Jim's bandwagon, I'm going for the double. So along with Kuva and Jimbo, I'm going for the double.
Quick one, who do you want to beat in the final? Ironically, if it was Liverpool, wouldn't it?
Honestly, I really don't care. I don't care who we play in the final. I just want that trophy. That's all I want.
Ian, I'm glad that was just your phone and not you falling. I was worried for half a second. I was like, oh no, did he just topple over?
Put the vodka in there today. I'm really happy Christmas, everyone.
I'm fine.
It's gone again.
Right, we're going on to our next section. We've only got 2 questions to go after this, so we're nearly there. But the next section is
Keep or West Ham.
Ham.
Here we go, everybody. We know you want it. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Keeper West Ham, the internet's favorite Tottenham game show, where we bring you Tottenham players, past and present. We make you keep some and send some to West Ham. Today's edition, there are 3 players. So 1 will be to keep in your starting 11, 1 will be for the bench, and 1 will be to sell to West Ham forever. Well, they'll spend the rest of their career having bubbles blown at them.
Chan, have you seen this before?
Yes, I have seen this before.
Okay, fair enough. So you know the rules.
Yes, I do know the rules.
Fantastic. So you're first up, Chan. So put the boys on the screen.
We've got Benson Core,
Wow.
and Bissouma for you today, my friend.
Okay.
Pay no attention to
I
the
think
fact
Keep
that
is definitely a no-brainer. Keep is a no-brainer. Keep will definitely be Benson Cole. I'm going to keep Benson Cole. I would have to bench Sarr first, not because I don't fancy him, but maybe because he's still young. He still has time to learn his trade over in Britain. The one which I will have to move on to West Ham is Bissouma. And don't get me wrong, it's not just because of the 2 red cards this season. Bissouma has been blowing hot and cold since he joined, and I think there was some reports, I believe, during the Conte era in which he did turn up late for training. I could be wrong, but that's what they were saying about Bissouma turning up for late, and that just doesn't sit well with me. If there's one person which I had to sell to West Ham, it would be Bissouma. So I would definitely keep Benson Cole and bench Pepe Latasa. Thank you, guys.
Boom, absolutely. Thank you for your answers, Chang. Good answers as always. You've been nailing every single question, so thank you. Great debut onto the show. Hopefully, first of many. But this brings up Ian now. Ian,
yeah, I have
here.
to probably agree with that. The worst of it is that you know that Bissouma is so capable of being an absolutely top quality player, and at the until his first sending off, he looked like he'd become it, and he's absolutely not played a minute since his red at Luton. And it's, sometimes you think, what the hell has he did he get that sending off at Forest on purpose to so he got a nice rest before the African Cup of Nations? So yeah, I'm with that. Sar's so young and with potential. Keep bench Sar, and
I really hope he didn't get that on purpose. That's a crazy thing to think about.
Well, it was a crazy thing that he did. A wild tackle in midfield with nothing going on. I mean, I don't know. Conspiracy theories are, abound everywhere. But how convenient for him just before, I don't know if he's Christian, but just before Christmas, getting the red, taking a break. Pathetic.
Bummer. Yeah. Adrian, here's
different. First 10 games in the season, Bissouma and Maddison were both vying for player of the season so far. I'm keeping Bentancur, obviously, but I'm keeping Bissouma, and I'm sending Sarr. I think, is a fantastic talent for West Ham. I think all 3 give you something different in midfield anyway. But Bissouma that beats the press with the quick twists and turns and forward passes, that hasn't gone away. He's gone for a patch, so now it's if you put this question out to the whole fan base, it'd be done on a popularity contest, and Bissouma would be kicked to West Ham. But I just think he offers you that much quality then when he's on his game that you've got to keep him. And Sarr will be a star, I'm sure.
Yeah. Good.
So who are you keeping and who are you benching? Because you said you wanted to keep 2 players, but you can only keep one and bench.
No. I said I'm keeping Bentancur, keeping benching Basuma, and sending Scott West Ham.
Okay, all right. Colin.
I'm boring because Chang has my exact answer, and so does Ian. But out of these 2 guys, I think, you know what? I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to keep Sarr. I'm going to bench Bentancur until he comes back fully from injury. He's 100%. And then I'm going to send Basuma to West Ham. And not because Basuma's a bad player. He's really not. He's a great player. He's wonderful. We got him for a steal. With the price we paid for him, 25 mil or something? Steal. He's a great player, but for the sake of this game here, he's got to go to West Ham. And I always say this, but we're making West Ham a powerhouse of a team with these players we're sending over there. West Ham is going to be a formidable side once they receive all these players. So that leaves Jose. That leaves you, buddy.
For me, if everyone in our squad is fit, right? For me, the best midfielder we have at the club is Bentancur. Without head and shoulders above any other player in the midfield that we've got at the club. And when I say midfield, I'm talking 6 or 8, yeah? So I'm not including 10 as a midfielder. 10 for me is an attacking player. So Maddison is a 10. So out of a 6 and 8 position, for me, Bentancur is head and shoulders above any other player that we've got at the club. So for me, it's Bentancur all day long. He's staying. I appreciate what Adrian has said about Basuma, about the press, the wriggling, the turning, and stuff like that. And I also like what Sarr's done. I think Sarr's ceiling is so high. He's a very young man. He's 20 years old. His ceiling is extremely high. And so therefore, for me, based on if they were all fit, I would have to go keep Bentancur. I would bench Sarr because of his ceiling and everything he's done so far and what he can do for us in the future. And unfortunately, it'd be Biss that goes to West Ham for me.
Bye, Biss.
And I think that the chat was more or less saying a lot of this as well. I think.
Let's get this back up here.
And I could see people in the chat answering this. So you have.
There's a lot of people here. So we got Alexander Hilton saying keep Sarr, bench Bentancur, sell Basuma.
GBC fans will start Sarr, bench Bentancur, and bye Basuma.
Okay.
Chris Peters has gone. Chris Peters has gone.
Right.
Oh, sorry, go on. You carry on because you got it on there.
Yeah. Chippy just says from left to right in that order for him.
Yeah.
Scott, keep Bentancur, bench Sarr. Basuma can F off to West Ham. Chris Peters, Bentancur, keep bench Sarr, sell Biss. Everybody's pretty much on that same.
You got dry roasted peanuts saying the same thing.
Yeah. Chippy saying that Scott finally agrees. They finally agree on something. Chippy and Scott, nice. Gotta love the love. And then
David Clark saying keep. So he wants to keep all 3 all day long.
Oh, okay. Well, I wish we could. Same with Daniel Sandoval.
Daniel Sandoval saying keep all.
And then
Mr. Ndombele saying sell Ndombele, sell Ndombele, sell Ndombele. And then he said, yes, David, keep all 3.
Well,
but that's not the game. We know this is not the game.
Yeah. I think realistically, when Basuma does come back from Africa, that it's a very, very big 4 months for him. A really big 3 months.
You mean like for his Spurs future?
Absolutely. There will be other players coming in. Ange won't put up with crap like he's produced the last couple of months. He either delivers or he'll go, and he will be replaced.
He'll be back early in because Mali aren't going to go a long way. Well, they're favourites, so Sarr will be away much longer, as will Son in the Asian Cup.
Well, with any knockout tournament, we don't know. I mean, teams could have a surprise win here or there, or a loss, or anything like that. So
they're not one of the fancied nations, Mali, Colin. To be honest,
Senegal though, they're favourites, I think.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So that was keep, bench, and West Ham. So
thank you for playing, everybody. It's my favorite game.
There's 2 questions to go. One is a football question and one is a non-football question. So the last football question we're going to ask you, and we're going to Chan first, is score prediction for Everton?
I'm going to go for a very simple and very realistic 1-0 win. I think it's going to be a scrappy tie. I really do. With Pepe Natasa and Bissouma. I mean, Bissouma is suspended and whatnot. So I think that this is going to be a very cagey affair. I don't think there are going to be many chances. The chances are going to be few and far between. I hope we do nick it with a Richarlison winner. He would love nothing more than to score against his old club. Although it might fall to Son or even one of the other non-forward players to nick the winner. I really do hope, and I'm really hoping Vicario can get his second clean sheet in a row, which is going to be a collector's item this season. So a scrappy 1-0 win will be my prediction against Everton.
Boom.
Would
Great
you
prediction.
reckon,
I can absolutely see that being spot on for the analysis. I think there'll be more goals, though. I'm going to go 2-1. But I think Chang could well be right with that. So I'll go 2-1 to us.
Adrian?
2-0, Decky Richarlison.
2-0, sorry?
Decky Richarlison.
Oh, you're even giving us the goal scorers. Fantastic.
Dang.
So you're Colin.
Honestly, I think it's going to be 3-2. Spurs 3, Everton 2. Everton are on a roll. They're going to score first, most likely. We'll have to wake up and come play them. I think this is one of those things where we're going to think, oh, it's just Everton. Like, we've seen our boys do this in the past with teams. We'll think, oh, it's just Everton. We'll go out there. They'll be taking it more seriously than us. They'll probably, get the first goal, and then it'll be, like Chang said, a cagey affair, but I think we'll win by 1 goal. Same with Ian. That's what you said too, right, Adrian? Just win by 1 goal?
2-0, I said 2-0. It won't be like the first game Bill Nicholson had at Spurs in 1958 when we played Everton at home and beat them 10-4 and the manager resigned. Yeah.
That'd be nice.
10-4.
Right. So for me, I'm going to turn around and say that all I hear is about what other teams can do. That's all I keep hearing from our fans. Is but they've got people that are taller than us, and they've got people that are going to be dangerous at set pieces. I keep hearing what everyone else can do. I really don't care what anyone else can do. I only care what we can do. Now, we are at home tomorrow, and I know that at home, Adrian, you're a season ticket holder. We have the supporters at home, and we have great support at the stadium at the moment. Since Anne's come, our support has been absolutely phenomenal. So we've got the supporters. Tomorrow, Ashley Phillips is back in the squad, and so is Giovanni Lo Celso. So tomorrow, your midfield doesn't pick itself now because Lo Celso is fit for selection, right? At the end of the day, I know that they've got Decoria and all that, but I don't really care about what they've got. I care about what we've got. And what we've got is we've got supporters. We've got a team that are playing with passion, and particularly at home. Although we play with passion away, we play with passion at home. The only issue that we've had is that we blow hot and cold on taking our chances or finishing our dinner, breakfast, lunch, pudding, as people say. Tomorrow, I'm just worrying about what we do. So tomorrow, I see us having an easier than what people think victory. And I'm going 3-0 to Tottenham.
Whoa, no.
I'm just curious if Johnson will play now. He's had 16 stitches.
I was going to say, he's said to be fit, though, right? They said he was fit.
But you still got stitches, isn't you? So,
Jose, and then Jose, are you cool with finishing up since I got to leave here in just a few minutes for work?
Yeah, do you want to send the link to Chris? Chris wants to come.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm sending it to him right now.
And the last question I'm going to ask, and this is just the tongue-in-cheek question I'm going to ask you all, and it's first to Chan, and this is dead or alive. Invite to dinner one sports person, a movie star, and a musician, and tell us why.
Okay. I think this is a very simple question for me.
Okay.
invite to dinner a sports person, I'm going to invite a former football commentator, but he's recently deceased, so RIP. If I could invite a sports person to dinner, I will actually invite John Motson. If anybody remembers Motti from back in the day, even I just have to make this very clear. Back in the day, in the late 80s and 90s, John Motson is everywhere over here in Asia when it comes to football commentary. The way I'm speaking to you right now, although English is not my first language, English is my mother tongue. I'm Chinese, by the way. But my presentation, the way I speak, my grammar, the way I form sentences, it's all almost like I learned it all from Motti himself back in the day. And this was even before I started supporting Spurs. So if there was a person I could invite to dinner, it will be John Motson. Rest in peace.
That's awesome.
Movie star?
If I could invite a movie star, let's see now. I think I would either go with, I'm not sure, does Tom Hanks count as a movie star?
Yeah.
I would invite Tom Hanks because just for his personality, the way he is as a person, I model myself a lot about him, the way he deals with people, his interpersonal skills, just the all-rounder, a great guy to be around with, Tom Hanks. So yeah, I'd probably invite Tom Hanks over for dinner. And as for musician, this is a tough one for me to answer because I'm so into music as a drummer myself. So if I could,
sick, nice man.
Yes, I'm a drummer. So if I could invite a musician to dinner, I'd probably say Bonham. I'm just going to name the name Bonham.
John Bonham.
If you don't know his name, that's your loss. So I'm just
It
going
has to be Bonham or Moon, I think, if you're a drummer.
Oh, good times, bad times. I mean, I try my best to try to get Bonham's lick for good times, bad times, but I'm just an amateur. So I mean, I would really love to invite him to dinner and maybe get a tip or two from him. But yeah, that would be my pick. Sports person, John Motson. Movie star, Tom Hanks. And finally, musician, Bonham. Over back to you, Jose.
Okay, so Ian, question to you, mate. If you can invite a sport, dead or alive, doesn't matter.
Given me some time to think about that. Sports person, I'm going to take Muhammad Ali. I think everything he represented, everything he stood for as a man, and of course, probably will always be the greatest heavyweight that ever walked the planet. I know boxing's different now, and heavyweights are of a completely different size. But watching him was floats like a butterfly, stings like a bee. He really did turn boxing into an art. So he's my first. My second is Julia Roberts, and apologies for any ladies watching, but at least if she turned me down, I'd know I'd tried, because there's something about her. She's not, like so many actors and actresses, she's not conventionally beautiful, but she's a stunningly brilliant actress. And she's wonderfully attractive as well. And I did fall in love with her when she was in Notting Hill. So it's Julia Roberts, I'm afraid. And
Boom, I love it.
I'm taking John Lennon. I love the Beatles, and for me, Lennon was the absolute balls of that band, and his bringing in his love of Black American R&B artists like Arthur Alexander and Smokey Robinson and the like. I thought gave that band an energy that if they'd have just been a purely white rock band influenced by white musicians would never have been the same. And obviously his politics as well would be interesting. So that's my three: Muhammad Ali, Julia Roberts, John Lennon.
And Adrian, over to Adrian.
I'll have to change these around now. Sports person, Bill Nicholson. I'd like to ask him at his playing days in the push and run side under Arthur Rowe, his time as a Spurs manager, and what he thought about the modern game. Musician. I've said Jimi Hendrix on other days, but
yeah.
I thought
of Hendrix as well.
I think I stick with Jimi Hendrix. And films. I'm not really a film person, so I'm looking for a good actors, you know. So.
You're more of a reader. We know because we saw your book collection the other day. You got books on books on books. But yeah.
Actor, actress. We'll go for actresses because we fancy them. We don't care if they can act as long as they're taking the clothes off. Right. So, it's true, though. It's true.
That's even worse than my answer. Brilliant.
Well, a few of the other answers I gave a young Cheryl Head, but a young Bo Derek wouldn't go amiss, I tell you.
Yeah.
Colin, are you going to have a go on this one today, or because we've had a go every day this week?
So I actually have to go right now. I have 2 minutes to get logged into work. I apologize. So I'll put it in the chat if I can. I'll try to put it in the chat. But I just wanted to say a big, humongous thanks to everybody that's been on the show today with us. So Chang,
Brilliant.
Adrian, Ian, thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
Jose,
thank you, Colin.
Oh, of course. And Jose, thank you for being the ever-present co-host and friend I need on the show. I appreciate you, man. And I also wanted to say thank you to everybody in the chat. We've reached a subscriber milestone. I don't want to but thank you guys for helping us do that. And also, this is being dual streamed on this channel and LTL Cockerel. So if you could make sure to get to both, hit the like on both and the sub on both. I think that covers it. But again, thank you everybody who's tuned in. Big love to you guys. Come on, you Spurs, and we'll see you tomorrow most likely. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Colin.
Talk to you soon, Jose. Bye, guys.
Bye. Right, let me see if I can find the banner that I was looking for. Right, I'm not going to have a go now. So I just wanted to see if I could find the banner because here we are. Let me have a look. No, that's not the one. Right, I don't know where he's put it, but what I was going to say is I wanted to give a shout out to Ash, who's also part of Talk and Ball. I know she's in the comments.
Big up, Ash.
What I wanted to let everybody know is that Ash's show Ash will do a show after every Tottenham game, and she will do it the day after the match, and she might possibly do some pre-shows as well because she's reached out to some other teams or some other communities within India. So on Sunday, which happens to be Christmas Eve, it happens to be the day after we play against Everton. Ash will be going live with White Chat Lane. And she will be doing that show, and it's at 1 p.m. Here it is. There we are. Let me just get this banner off. He's left up there. So she'll be doing it with Bobby K. So it'll be Hindi for Ash. It'll be in Punjabi for Bobby K. So it'll be a Hindi, Punjabi, English mashup, and that's at 1 o'clock. GMT, and that'll be 6:30 Indian time, 6:30 p.m. in India, and it will be 7 o'clock in the morning for Colin, because Colin and I will be around to set up the show. Although we don't come on, we're in the background doing the work as well, so they're the times that we'll be on. So it'd be great if people could come and support Ash. She is an absolute phenomenon in the community. She's really good. She's come on fresh. She's got great ideas. Very knowledgeable lady as well, and knows her stuff. So please come and support her on Sunday, on Christmas Eve, if you can. I appreciate there's going to be a lot of family time at this time of the year, but if you can, give her a like or give her a shout out, then please do so.
Is it a match preview? Is it 1 o'clock tomorrow GMT, you say?
It's on Sunday.
Oh, Sunday after the game.
Sunday, yes, she does a post-match one. But what I'm saying is there'll always be post-match ones, but she's been reaching out to some other Indian supporters, and she may end up doing some pre-ones as well. But for the time being, it's post. And what I wanted to say is I wanted to thank every single one of you that have been on today, and just where people can find you. So we'll start with you, Chang.
Okay, well, I don't currently have my own channel. I can be found on Spursation TV. on YouTube, on Twitter, I believe on Facebook as well. I could be wrong, but I will check that again. Other than Persuasion TV, I'm a regular over at United Spurs of America, which I always give up memberships to new channel viewers of that. And if I'm to be a regular here on Talk and Ball, I guess I could be found here from time to time if I'm ever invited back to be a member. Other than that, I'm also on Facebook, as Mr. Adrian Stroka would tell you that, having been a member of Spurs Diehards on Facebook. I'm also found on both Twitter and Instagram as well. If anybody looks up my name here, Chang Kim Seong.
Thank you very much, Chang. So yeah, Chan, we will have you back on. There's no issues about that at all. We'll definitely have you back on. It's been a pleasure having you. As we've tried to say to people many a time, the channel that we're trying to create here is a channel for the fans and our supporters and people that come into our chats and support the channel. They're more than welcome to come on. We get people on all the time, so we're really happy to have had you today, and you will be asked again in the future. There's no doubt about it at all. Ian, where can you find what you up to?
I just want to say it's the first time I've been on stream with Adrian and Chang, and what an absolute pleasure it's been. I hope people in the chat have enjoyed listening to us, because I've really enjoyed listening. I know not you and Colin, I've obviously worked with you before, but hearing these two's opinions and what have you, I've really enjoyed listening to them. So I hope they've enjoyed it as much as I have. You can find me on Facebook, Ian Meth. That's my proper name. You can get me on Twitter at Shaggy1712. I always follow back my fellow Spurs supporters, and I do a few. I do this Talk and Ball. I've done certainly a few with Brian and Ben on their channel. If I get invited on to a show and I'm free, it's always a pleasure, and I'll always do it. So that's where I am.
And Adrian, where can you be found, sir?
Well, you can find me on Twitter, ex-Twitter, on my handle here at Adrian_Stroker. You can find me at Talk and Ball. I don't know if you've heard of that, guys, and you can find me on my Spurs group on Facebook. We've got approaching 13,000 members now. At Spurs Diehard. You'll find it if you just type in Spurs Diehard, or if you go on the Twitter link, there's a link there which will take you straight there. I'll have to add you, Ian, and
please.
Yeah, if I haven't got you added, I may have you added already. I don't know on Twitter.
I don't think so, but I'll find you. I've got to cook.
Find me. I follow back all Spurs fans. I follow back all of them.
And then we have, who's just joined us, wanted to join us before we wrapped up, was Chris Peters. And there you go, Chris. Hello, Chris. How are you? And then we have, who's just joined us, wanted to join us before we wrapped up, was Chris Peters.
Chris, can you hear us? Chris, can you hear us?
I've got an echo.
Can
everyone hear me?
Yeah.
If you've got an echo, stay off stream. Stay off. Come out of YouTube and just stay on StreamYard.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for the whole of this week, Jose and Colin, for all the wonderful guests you've had.
Thank you, Chris.
Jose and Colin, for all the wonderful guests you've had. It's been a really great week leading up to Christmas. It's been wonderful to watch, and all the guests have been amazing, all the questions. And as you said, you're going to do a review later on of all the answers for everyone said, so it's going to be really interesting.
I'm just waiting for him to catch up.
Yeah.
Right, now that you've caught up, Chris, thank you
big
very
up
much.
Spurs tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you very much for your comments, Chris. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad you've enjoyed the shows. I've seen your comment. And yeah.
4-0.
4-0. 4-0. Okay. And what I wanted to say is to everyone that I have on screen at the moment, and everybody in the chat, and everyone that watches this back on playback and everything, I want to wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas to yourselves, your families, and your loved ones. Stay healthy, stay blessed. May Santa bring you everything you've asked for Some of the presents I've requested, I have to wait till May.
Julia Roberts. Will he bring me Julia Roberts?
Well, I'm asking for 2 trophies in his bag, but they can't come till May.
That's fair dues.
But no, thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of this. And yeah, I don't know. Apart from the show that we've got on Sunday with Ash, we've made no plans for tomorrow and no plans for Christmas. So I don't know when we'll next be on, Colin and myself. But definitely Ash will be on Sunday. But
Ian, Shane, good to meet you in person. Love your take on things. I love people that bring facts.
Yeah, and you. Been an absolute pleasure. Been a real pleasure. Thanks, Jose, as well.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Merry Christmas as well. Merry Christmas, guys.
Yeah. Chang, you're a legend in the making, my friend.
Yeah.
And what I was going to say was the last thing I was going to say is, have you got any last? I don't know. Have you got any sayings? Because yesterday we had Mark Cousins saying, "Get off my land." So I just wanted to know if anyone got any sayings before they go.
Come on, you Spurs.
Fair play.
A saying?
Come on, you
Spurs.
There's a second one for it. I'm going to third it. I'm going to say, "Come on, you Spurs, in Ange we trust."
I like the facts, right? A quote: "Facts do not cease to exist because they're ignored."
Fair enough. Well, with that, we'll thank everybody.
Brilliant.
Excellent. Good.
My team has got James Madison. James Madison is what we need. Whoa, thank God we got James Madison. This kid plays ball like you would never believe. Whoa.